94.6 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Very pleasant Friday afternoon to you, July 23rd, 2021. The long-awaited start of the Tokyo Olympics started early this morning. I was up preparing to leave from Birmingham, and I won't say I watched a lot, and I certainly didn't get up just for it, but I knew it was on, so I turned on the opening ceremonies from Tokyo, and they are always riveting and a lot of fun, pomp and circumstance, no fans. And a lot of masks for everyone, but they started this morning. We will talk some Olympics, all through the Olympics, of course. Hope they get to finish on time, but the cauldron's lit. The Dove, they've been released, and the games are underway, and we hope it's safe and sound. We've almost forgotten about some of the things in the past that we worry about with Olympics every year, and we sure hope that they're safe this year. And I could not believe my ears this morning, Gabe Kuhn, that finally, after all these years, almost 49 years later, and I guess they would have been honored last year at the 48-year mark, the athletes for the Israeli team slain in 1972 finally formally honored by the IOC. I couldn't believe my ears.
Unbelievably late. Unbelievably tardy.
Like 44
that.
years
Absolutely.
last year, 43 this year. They should have been honored in 76 in Montreal.
Did you catch the whole thing this morning?
Not
started at 6 a.m., correct?
Not the whole thing, but some, and interesting and interested, and I always am. I'm an Olympics fan, especially Summer Olympics.
Something about the empty stadium and the waving to no one in the crowd just felt weird. It felt bad. Felt weird to me, and I don't know. I mean, obviously, I hope we go off without a hitch. I hope we continue to try to push through as much as we can. But that didn't sit right with me this morning.
It didn't sit right. But I won't say inculcated or used to it last year, but certainly was around it some at college football, and that was I've talked many times. I don't ever want to see Tiger Stadium like that again. I want them with the one finger salute at us pulling into the parking lot and the cat calls and the welcome to Baton Rouge, and it doesn't feel very welcome. I'll just tell you, I felt more warmly received at other places a lot of times, but I want it back like that. And last year you had a couple of times in sports with nobody there, with the players doing the signal for be quiet to the other crowd. There's nobody yelling at you. Why are you telling them to shush?
Hey! You got to make it seem as real as possible, Brett. Got to make it seem as real as possible, and people tried to make it as normal as possible, and that's sort of what it was. But
it'd be like the javelin thrower in Tokyo doing the shush sign to somebody. There's nobody to shush.
I enjoy the unwelcome messages more than not having anyone there. There's no question about it.
I want it real. I want it organic. I want it cracking. But I'll take it however we can get it. And these long-awaited games for Tokyo. We will take it. We will talk Olympics. We will talk college football. We'll talk NFL today. We'll talk baseball. We're going to talk the WGC FESJI. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk NBA today. We'll visit with Andy Schiffman. NBA never ends around here. Really, the offseason gets going now, and a week from now we'll be digesting and dissecting exactly who the Grizzlies take with that pick if they draft in that slot. So plenty to discuss. I promise you. I think I told you guys off the air yesterday. I definitely, kind of wanted to go. We've had a lot of SEC this week, and I wanted to get to other things we haven't been able to get to. But it's inescapable to get away from this story because this has been one more transformational week in college athletics in United States sports. And you and your brother Alex and John were visiting on the happy hour about Greg Sankey and his role in sports. You could argue now,
most powerful guy in college sports.
Let's go past that. It might be Goodell. Goodell. It might be Goodell 1.
Sankey 2.
Sankey 2.
I think you could absolutely make that argument. What we talked about with Mark Emmert and trying to decentralize the NCAA and give the power over to the conferences with that conference, adding Oklahoma and Texas, the amount of money generated, the TV deals. Yeah, you could absolutely make that argument.
Just all right, how hard one to start? When we would love for texters to weigh in at 901-360-8255. Rank your American sports commissioners. So that would be NFL, NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball.
On level of power, not how much you like them.
And include Greg Sankey in that group, because let's just, for the sake of argument, say he's number 1 commissioner of the college sports leagues.
That's unargued.
I don't think it's arguable. You cannot like him, you cannot like them, you cannot like it. But he is the most powerful commissioner in college sports. So with that, where would he rank among the big 4? All right, Goodell 1. Would you go there?
I would probably say 2. I really do believe that. And then you could go Adam Silver, then Rob Manfred.
Can we rank Manfred behind like the Horizon League?
It's not about it. It's not about how much you like him. It's about power.
Does he have that much, or does the Players Association and the umpire union really share the power with him?
If you're the commissioner of one of the more powerful sports leagues, I'm going to put you up there. I think he's still a little bit ahead of the NHL, although MLB is getting very dangerously close to NHL level.
Dangerously close.
In regards to watchability and TV
deals and everything else.
Do
you think Rob Manfred's family knows he's in charge of baseball?
I wonder. How does he lead the family?
And then when they realize it, they go, oh, so it's you to blame for 7-inning doubleheaders. It's you to blame for a ghost runner on second to start extra innings. It's you to blame for being part of baseball to settle the collusion lawsuit,
right?
And needed money so desperately, and the Tampa Bay Rays come in because of you. So it's you we need to blame. That's his own family.
So one thing I didn't get to bring up with you yesterday, talking about the Texas-Oklahoma realignment, which will happen by all accounts. I saw 24 to 48 hours. I don't know if it'll be that quick.
And if people had the under on us bringing it up as a topic, they won.
Yeah, of course.
It's inescapable.
But next week is what I'm hearing from a lot of reports.
Everywhere.
You could shine some light on this. Who will object outside of A&M? And I know that Greg Sankey tends to get the 14-0 vote no matter what. He leads people in the direction.
Yeah.
They all share the same thoughts by the end of it. It'll be 14-0. I have confidence in that. But who besides A&M would object?
I don't think he will even try the 14-0 to the public, because it has to give A&M and it has to give Ross Bjork and it has to give those people some cover,
right.
Especially with the Kirk Bowles, the columnist for the Austin American-Statesman today, in his reporting that A&M in the last 6-month fandango between the SEC and OU in Texas, that they were not even included, that they didn't know about it, that it's coming as news to them. And to give them some cover, I think you have to let them go out there and throw that red meat around and say, we didn't know 13-1.
13-1.
But Mizzou's not going to vote against. Mizzou's not against.
That's what I was wondering. And you see the reports about Mizzou. I don't really see why they would be against it. And also, you look at the Big 12. Big 12 blindsided by all accounts too. And then I saw Brett McMurphy yesterday, and he was reporting on it all day, tweeting out various updates about it, and then talking about the Big 12 call. And they're supposed to have all 10 ADs in there talking. And Oklahoma and Texas's ADs were nowhere to be found. They didn't have anybody from those schools there. But Brett McMurphy said another Big 12 AD said that they don't think the move is done. Then why did Texas and Oklahoma not show up to the call?
The deal's done.
It's done. It's done. And I think
the Big 12's done.
Yeah, the Big 12 is trying to hold on for dear life. And I saw this thrown around there. It's like a shopping mall with the 2 mainstay stores moving out and the rest of the stores trying to hold together and not go out of business.
Yeah, Macy's and Kohl's have moved out.
Exactly.
You're down to candle shops.
Yes. Yankee Candle?
Yeah, and it's tough to make them all go on candle shops.
Williams-Sonoma in there?
Not even that. I mean, it's mom and pop candle shop.
Okay.
And maybe a gift card center.
Right.
mean, it's just hard to make that go. And now we will see all the dominoes as they fall. It is moving at It's moving faster than the vaccine did. It's moving at Operation Warp Speed, and I was told, be ready for 2023. There's even the possibility of next year at 2022. That will be tough. Now the SEC, they have not released a schedule for next year, and they usually don't in normal times. Never mind what happened last year, but normally, and back to 2016, 17, 18, 19 even, they would release the next year's schedule. We're supposed to know the opponents, but they would release dates and various teams, usually sometimes in September, early October. So we'll be watching that. But
joining in 2023 is going to throw a wrench in the scheduling.
Well, it would have to.
Yeah, because they're scheduled through 2025. That's that much I know.
They are, and there's nothing after that. After 2025, and I mean, you can go to FBS.com and see all FBSschedules.com and see all the future schedules. All that's going to be changed because some of those future schedules involve those teams. Mm-hmm. So you'll need a new non-conference game if you have Texas and OU scheduled. Like Alabama, I think they're signed up with both. LSU signed up with both. Arkansas, maybe not with both, but I know at least another Texas series somewhere in there. And I think Georgia, with those. So, those teams will have to be in a scramble, for those future schedules. But right now, don't worry about 2025. Don't worry about 2037. It's right here in front of us the rest of the way. Dave will be back with us on Monday, and I referenced this yesterday and on Monday. He is really walking back into a whole new world that he walked out of here Tuesday night at 6 o'clock too, on there. He's aware and abreast of everything out there. I thought it interesting yesterday that Kevin Warren, and I know you in leadership, Gabe, you have to lead, but sometimes you do have to have the deep dive game plan self-scout of yourself, don't you? Mm-hmm. And he said he wouldn't do anything different from last year. That's pure foolish.
Yeah. I think and my brother mentioned this when we were talking to him on Happy Hour, the period of just sort of accepting him for who he is at this moment, it's done. Like the time where everybody was being very happy about him, thinking he was forward thinking, that's gone after last year and having half a season, maybe less than half a season, and then having to open it up for Ohio State, even though the rules had been set at the beginning of the year. Like, he's going to have to earn back respect, and I'm wondering how he is going to do that. The Big Ten, though, when it comes to realignment and everything else, they can be reactionary in this whole thing.
But y'all mentioned honeymoon being over for him. Honeymoon over. Never mind it being over. You've cheated badly on her, and you've stolen her parents' checkbook and written bad checks against them. Honeymoon over. I mean, I don't know.
How many more missteps for Kevin Warren before they just oust him immediately? Before he is his job's already been called for.
Can't be many. Could it?
No. Absolutely not.
And to the basketball quotient, and I've noticed out there, and that's fine, and I've always said no media sticks together tighter to the sport and with each other. The solidarity, in my opinion, of the college basketball media, there's none out there bigger. They look the other way on stuff that may not be very flattering for the sport. They're very, very supportive of their sport, much more so than the college football media. The college football media, you saw how it turned on the sport last summer with some of the big names and the big blue check marks ready to eviscerate it. They thought they had it dead and buried last summer. The college basketball media would never do that. And I've noticed today a pretty common thread of the college basketball glitterati of they're not for this whatsoever. They don't like it because they know it even more marginalizes and makes it more of a niche sport than ever.
Yeah, it does. We're just going to have to sit back, figure out, collect our thoughts, see what a lot of these powers are going to do in college football, college basketball, and see what the power structure will be. I mean, it's tough to understand or think about what's about to happen because the dominoes have fallen, and it is about to start a chain reaction that we have not seen ever in college sports.
One thing from college basketball that I'm going to like about this when we get around to it, that Wednesday night session at the SEC tournament has been one of the most throwaway nights ever when 11 plays 14 and 12 plays 13. Nobody goes, nobody cares, and no noise is being made by those teams. Now on Wednesday night, you're going to have 9 versus 16, 10 versus 15, 11 versus 14, and 12 versus 13. That makes that session a lot more valuable when you get around to men's basketball tournament time.
Yeah, yep, it does. It does. I believe it does.
Good to be back in the studios. Good to be in the Family Leisure Studios. As always, Gabe, it's good to be in the Family Leisure Studios, isn't it?
It is. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, where family and fun come together. It's time to get out of the house. Come by Family Leisure. Great pricing on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active. Nice and hot outside. Get them active with the play gyms. They're in stock, ready for delivery, and always professional installation. Markdowns on remaining game room products and massage chairs. And then I know it's hot. Just mentioned it. When you got to keep the kids active, but hot tubs are going fast. Reserve yours now before the cold weather comes. Family Leisure, again, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40, where family and fun come together.
Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline will be with us at 3:30, and we'll visit with Daryl Smith from the WGC FVSJI on the big announcements that they had yesterday and more on the way. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them up at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity July sales event. Great offers on all 2021 models and always special lease options. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Of course, the top story of the day and the top story of every day here for the near future is going to be Texas and Oklahoma. But I'm going to have to go off of that topic and get to the NFL. NFL's coming up before we know it, and we have wide receiver drama. Tell me if you've heard that before. Saints are going to start the season without Michael Thomas. He had ankle surgery in June. They don't know why he delayed it. But the Saints are going to be struggling to start the season. If you don't have Michael Thomas, Drew Brees is gone. Alvin Kamara is your only guy, and you have to decide. Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. We'll see what happens with that. And also, Devontae Adams. Not only have the Packers screwed up with their quarterback, but Devontae Adams' contract extension talks have halted. Packers did not acknowledge that he wanted to be the highest-paid wide receiver in the NFL. And truthfully, Brett, he's kind of earned that. He has earned that. He's been their main playmaker for a few years now, and he's been probably the best wide receiver that Aaron Rodgers has had on his team with him. Talks are now off the table for Devontae Adams and the Packers.
I'm with you. I want to go a little bit different than the obvious story because it is so obvious, so I'm going to go to the whole world is watching with no fans there. The long-awaited Tokyo Summer Olympics, they've started. Did you see Hideki Matsuyama at all prominently in the ceremony?
I did not.
I thought he would be there wearing that Masters green jacket, but I have not seen him. Ready for the golf to get started. Let me try the name of the golf course at the Kasamigaseki Golf Course. I think I got that mostly right. Kasamigaseki Golf Course. Ready for Olympic golf. We've got it started. Okay, I hope the competition goes well, and I hope it ends safely for everyone. And still shocked that the 72 athletes that were slain finally got honored this year. I would have bet anything against that.
So unbelievable.
But Avery Brundage, the guy that ran the IOC forever, that's about par for him.
So unbelievably delayed, and it just throws me off because last night, and I don't know how much you are familiar with Kanye West, but Kanye West had his album premiere last night in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And you look at that full stadium for an album premiere with Kanye West standing in the middle of the field, and then you go to the Olympics and no one's in the stadium and they're waving at cardboard cutouts. It just
Deer Park.
It feels so bizarre.
It does.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day are the numbers we're having in U.S. For COVID cases. Last night, I checked the numbers. We're having 39,000 cases per day. 7 days ago, it was at 25,000 cases per day. 14 days ago, 15,000 cases per day. 21 days ago, 12,000 cases per day. 28 days ago, not but a month ago, only 11,000 cases per day. We've grown from 11,000 to 39,000 in a month, and I'm getting concerned about this Delta variant. Get out, get your vaccine, do your part.
Just makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But when the numbers are so skewed between the hospitalizations without the vax and with
97% of the hospitalizations are unvaccinated.
Gabe, it ain't 97%. I get through Ridgeway and Mount Moriah tonight at 6 o'clock.
No, it's unbelievable. Do your research. Make your decision, but I think you should make the right decision.
It might be better than 97%, but I'll take 90%.
Hey, the right lane
return on anything.
You ever driven on the right lane on Poplar?
Yep.
97% chance you're going to blow out a tire.
It's a good shot of it. My not top story, it's with the Texas A&M or Texas and OU. They're gone, and basically last night to their old mates in the Big 12 said, "We'll see you when we see you, and it won't be soon." Now, let's look at those other 8 teams, because I hear there's some pushback from Baylor. Well, I'm sorry, Baylor grads. It doesn't matter. Look at all these teams left in the Big 12, and they look incredibly small standing alone. There are teams in the SEC that would look small if you took Alabama and Florida and Georgia out. I know that, but they're not going anywhere. These are going somewhere, so it highlights just how small, football-wise, KU, K-State, Iowa State historically, Baylor, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, TCU, and West Virginia. Boy, they get T90, don't they?
And also, you look at TCU and West Virginia. Not but 15 years ago, they were a non-Power 5. They were a group of 5 teams. So I think that a lot of people know what's left in the Big 12 is not much, but I think they're even overestimating the little left. I think people are still overestimating what they have left. It's interesting, but
TCU's played a lot of Saturdays in anonymity in Fort Worth.
Yes, they have.
Yes, the Gary Patterson era has been good there. At one time, where conference brethren with the Tigers had a huge brawl. One time with the Tigers, LaDainian Tomlinson started it too.
I remember the Mountain West days of TCU. The Mountain West days
Dennis
were good to them.
Franchione.
Very good to them.
And this is the best chapter in Iowa State football history that we're currently in. And it would be a good up years for Iowa State to go out there and make a lot of noise this year. A lot of people will be pulling for that, and I would be fine by that. When we come back, we'll visit with Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline. We have Daryl Smith from the WGC FESJI with us. Bruce Marshall from the Goal Sheet. Tim Doolin on baseball. A lot of Olympics talk. At 5, we catch up with Greg Gaston and talk Tigers and the ramifications from the conference realignment from the Tigers' perspective with him. He was a wise voice today on Middays, along with Eli Savoy, talking the whole subject matter. Andy Schiffman will be with us at 5:30 today, and we wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Dave is out. Gabe is in. I'm Brett Norsworthy. It's being produced by Bryant Dacus. We are Sportstime.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy take you through lunch from 10 to 1 weekdays. Only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Grind City Brewing Company is taking care of beerness in Memphis. Grind City Brewing is the dream of a father and son duo to create a brand that delivers a high-quality, great-tasting, and easy-drinking craft beer. And they've done it. The brewery sits high above the city elevation in uptown Memphis with 15,000 square feet of beerness, including a 5,000 square foot tap room. Grind City Brewing is committed to all things Memphis, including the Tigers. They have created a malt liquor called Tiger Tail that is the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. Tiger Tail comes in 16-ounce six-packs and is not your typical malt liquor. Tiger Tail is crafted with a bold and smooth flavor has 7.5% alcohol, and its clean finish makes it incredibly easy drinking. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis.
Magic in Memphis. Excellence delivered. Where the world comes to showdown. To be the king of Grind City. Today's stars, tomorrow's legends. Taking care of business. Compete to conquer the world. Don't miss the World Golf Championships FedEx St. Jude Invitational. August 5th through 8th. For more information, visit WGCFedEx.com.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
Summer in Memphis is hot and humid. Match that with an inefficient air conditioner, and that equals less comfort inside your home and higher utility bills. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. If you're frustrated with your current HVAC system, then let us give you a free estimate to make you and your family more comfortable this summer. Right now, Choate's and Carrier are offering 60 months no-interest financing on select Carrier HVAC systems. If you're not ready to purchase a new system yet and need Freon to get you through the summer, then go to our website for our half-off 1 pound of Freon coupon. If your system hasn't received a maintenance yet, Choates is also offering their $20.99 AC tune-up. So turn to the experts with Choates and call 347-8086 today to take advantage of these specials. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the biggest Callaway trade-in event of the year. Starting this Thursday through Sunday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 75% trade-in bonus towards new Apex irons and Epic woods. Both the Apex and Epic families are designed with artificial intelligence for faster ball speeds. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com or call the store nearest you to schedule your free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Let Jason's Deli cater your special event. Any meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Save all the time and all the trouble and let Jason's Deli do all the work. Locations at Park Place, Poplar and Highland, Cordova, and Olive Branch. Breakfast packages, hot breakfast choices, breakfast sandwich boxes. They serve 12, ham, sausage, fresh cracked eggs, crispy bacon. Flatbread breakfast, 8-ounce, individually boxed flatbread sandwiches. Sunshine breakfast, hot wrap breakfast, breakfast pastries, coffee, and fresh orange juice. Sandwich boxes, the manager special, soup, fresh fruit, deluxe sandwiches, boardroom box, traditional box, sandwich trays, hot meals, desserts, and drinks. Go to jasonsdeli.com. Whether you need to feed 5 or 5,000, the experienced team at Jason's Deli can deliver. Locations in Park Place, Olive Branch, Poplar and Highland, and Cordova. The commitment to variety, value, and quality ingredients means you can feel great about choosing Jason's Deli catering for all 3 meals.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
We welcome you in, and a lot to discuss on this Friday afternoon with the whole world feeling like it's changing and the whole world watching Tokyo. Nobody can go, so with the whole world watching, we'll keep up with the Olympics. I know it's a odd time difference. I'm going to tell you right now, through the years, not as much now with the instantaneousness of so much information. Not even back to the 2012 Olympics, we didn't get this, but we used to get this a lot. Don't let us know what's going on. I'm taping at home. We're in the breaking news business. If something happens from Tokyo, we can't worry about your DVR
Stay off
settings.
Twitter. Stay off the internet. Then, in that case,
yeah, I'm very sorry for that, and that's pretty rigid point. But really, in all honesty, I was that way in '96 about the Olympics. I mean, I can't hold up for your VCR settings.
We've changed. We've changed quite a bit.
We have changed. Nothing changes, but always consistent, always great with Alan Bell. You can count on him being a constant. He's with CBS Sportsline on Twitter at Alan Bell 247. Alan Bell joins us now. And when we visited a week ago Friday, if you would have thrown as deep as you wanted to throw, who's the best? Jay Schrader. Remember him with the Washington football team? He could get on that back foot and fog it about 80 yards. Alan Bell, could you have ever envisioned this kind of Hail Mary, this kind of bomb being thrown in sports?
It's wild. First off, boys, I appreciate you guys having me back. Second, so you're telling me that you're not going to wait 2 days to show the miracle on ice. That's what you're telling me with the Olympic stretch.
That's right. That was a big controversy here. There were people ready to knock the ABC affiliates' windows out here that Friday night and that Sunday morning in the gold medal game. That's a good catch.
Yeah. It's wild. And you're right. Obviously there's a massive time difference. Team USA, the basketball team, the men's team, they start Sunday morning at 7 a.m., which isn't terrible because there are games that start at 3 a.m., right? So it's not too bad. But, yeah, there's going to be a time difference for sure.
So this week in sports with the announcement for Texas and OU. First thing, Alan, I want you to do this, and we had a little fun with this yesterday closing the show. If OU and Texas were in the league this year, how do you think – I don't know what the divisions would look like, but – just out of 1 through 16, where do you think OU would fall in for 2021 SEC football, and where would Texas fall in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, Oklahoma's good.
Real good.
Yeah, they're going to be at the top, right? The big question is, can anybody knock off Alabama? I think if you put those two teams together, they'd have a heck of a fight. But, yeah, if you look at Alabama, Georgia, Florida, the teams that are at the top, Oklahoma would be right there. Now, Texas is going to be pretty good this year, too. They're not, quite at that level, but, they would fit in, like an Ole Miss, right, this year, like an Auburn. Texas is, Texas, they'll be all right. So it's crazy that we're talking about this. And it felt like 2 days ago that it was just one of those off-season topics. And then now it feels like it's done. It's just nuts how much change is happening in college sports, football specifically, but all of college sports, as a whole.
And the question I've sort of been trying to rack my brain on, Big 12 now, who's the premier program?
It's a good question. And look, I think you are asking a phenomenal question that nobody's really talking about, right? So think about this. Like, we're looking at this from a football perspective, and, you look at a team like Iowa State, right? They're better than people think. But
they're better than Texas now.
And have had good years in basketball, too.
Absolutely. See, and that's exactly it. That's exactly what I was going to say. These moves are, more than one sport, right? Look at Texas baseball, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you somehow had Vanderbilt, we're talking about baseball, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Texas right there, Ole Miss is good baseball, too. Like, if they went to some pod system, good luck getting out of that. Like, that would be just a nightmare, right?
I think they had that. Alan, I think they had that pod system that literally kicked off the college baseball season this year at the Rangers' new stadium. That tournament they had there was basically this new SEC pod, isn't it?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And then, basketball, right? Like, how does this come into play? Texas, pretty good. Now Tennessee and Rick Barnes, now you're in the same conference.
Well,
it's just wild.
That's good, Al. I hadn't thought of that one yet. And the whole Davy Crockett thing. It's time to quit fighting over him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think it is. But now you're right. Like you asked, who's the premier program? What happens with the Big 12? We see this thing kind of dissolve. What do you do with Kansas? Because they've won 16 games in football in 10 years. But Kansas basketball is Kentucky basketball, right? Like, it's wild how all of this is going on. And you're talking about massive brands and more than just football. It's nuts.
And someone posed this to me. I don't think it could. I really don't think because of football that it would be all that realistic. But could you imagine Kansas, that basketball program in the ACC? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And then, the big question comes, Notre Dame's going to have to make a decision at some point, right? So where do they go?
Right.
It's just the amount of change that we could see in the next couple of years is mind-boggling. It's just nuts, man.
It is. Alan Bell with us talking really everything. We want to get to some weekend in wagering because you stay that hot. And with us last Friday, I said, give our listeners a winner this weekend, and you did. You always come through. Baseball this weekend, Shohei Ohtani has really cooled off. I think we're far enough removed from the All-Star game not to blame it on that. But that home run derby and all of his duties, I can see where that would take a lot out of him.
Yeah, it did. And, he's had 14 strikeouts in 6 games, which is, crazy for him, right? I think that the entire experience, as soon as the home run derby started, I think he was kind of in his head because, remember, he's still a young guy, right? And he'll turn these things around. He'll be fine. But
in the book gets around on you. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, it's a big stage, and especially, every media market in the country was talking. It was basically him. It was his all-star show, right? So, yeah, I mean, you look at that. But I'll say this. The Angels are playing in Minnesota tonight against the Twins. I am all over the Angels on the money line around 120. You can get them for a really nice price. I think that they go up there and roll. If you look at the Oakland A's, they're playing against the Seattle Mariners tonight. Rode them last night. They won 4-1. I think that they're going to do the same thing again tonight. So, yeah, so you've got some nice baseball going on. But one thing that we talked about last week, and I'll say the same thing, be careful, after this All-Star break, like you were just talking about, things can get a little dicey, a little crazy, so let it kind of even out. But by next weekend, we should probably be back to standard operating procedure for what we saw the first half.
And they also change. Some teams start to get a little more healthy, start to get a little more comfortable. And a team that I've been looking at pretty closely is the Yankees. And I know that coming into the season, second highest odds to be the World Series winner. They rattled off 4 straight wins, lost last night to the Red Sox late, 5-4. How are you evaluating right now their chances to actually make it into the playoffs?
Well, so you know what? Last night was crazy, right? You rarely see 4 wild pitches, in extra innings, right? But we saw what they did against the Red Sox in the previous series. They looked good. They need to get healthy. Their outfield is completely decimated. I think honestly that they're going to, once they get healthy again, they're going to be a solid team. Yeah, there's some things to work on, but honestly, every team has things to work on. Look at the Dodgers, right? Their bullpen is a disaster. The last 2 nights. They were getting booed out there. So, I think every, team at the top has things they need to work on. But I'll say this, like what you were saying, if you're looking at, kind of a futures bet on the Yankees,
right.
Whether to win the World Series or, just playoffs, et cetera, watch it the next couple of days because the odds are going to kind of drop and you're going to get better odds on that and jump on it. Like if you like them because they are going to get healthy again. And they're a better team than what people are playing, than how they've been playing.
Right.
So, as we got a lot of season left. You'll get some really nice odds here, probably starting now and through the rest of this week.
Last thing for our friend Alan Bell, and I want everybody to take a swing at this. You inspired me with the Rick Barnes and Tennessee playing Texas in men's basketball. Let's stay with football, just on football. Give me the matchup, and not Texas A&M, the new ones against kind of the old traditional SEC. Everybody think of one that you can't wait to see.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll go ahead and let it rip right now. I'd love to see Oklahoma, Georgia. I'd love to see Oklahoma, Florida. You know what? I'd love to see Oklahoma, LSU. Give you some of that. In, Tiger Stadium at night. I want to see that one. That's mine right there.
I would say
Texas at the Swamp for me.
I would given what it looks like right now, I want to see Oklahoma, Florida. Two very good offensive coaches that do good with quarterbacks. Defenses have been lacking. I think that would be a very fun up and down game.
Bryant?
Yeah, completely agree.
I'd go Texas LSU.
Texas.
Oh, nice. When we saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. We'll have a basketball matchup next Friday, but starting with Rick Barnes going back to Austin against Chris Beard, that's 2 heavyweights right there. Alan Bell, thank you for your time today. Tell everyone where they can get all the information about you. I know your Twitter feeds is the best.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Sportstime.com. We're getting everybody ready for the football season, whether college, NFL, fantasy football, you name it. So go there, give it a shot. I'm telling you, you will enjoy it. We are handicapping any sport that has a scoreboard. So, look, guys, I appreciate y'all having me on, too. Thank you so much. Look forward to next Friday.
And Angels tonight against the Twins. Very
Locked
good.
Locked it in already. Appreciate it, Alan.
There we go.
Thank you, Alan. Have a great weekend.
Y'all too. Thank you.
Alan Bell with us on Friday afternoons and will be with us from here forward. We appreciate it so much and his perspective on everything. When we come back, we'll talk the WGC FESJI, big round of great announcements yesterday, including Roy McIlroy. Darrell Smith joins us. That's next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
The first name in Memphis Italian food, it's Ronnie Grizzani's in Regalia. Lunch, the Italian favorites with crisp cold Miss Mary salad, lobster tower, fried green tomatoes, the crab stack, Monday through Saturday for lunch. Ronnie Grizzani's Catering, check out the lunch catering guide at ronniegrizzani.com. The Elfo Special, salad, Italian bread for $14 per person. Ronnie Grizzani's, they'll bring it to you. 901-850-0191. Pick up a pan of lasagna at Ronnie Grizzani's at Regalia or check out the bulk menu at ronniegrizzani.com. Get your favorites at home. Chicken Alfredo, ravioli, Italian spinach, curbside pickup, delivery to your door. Free within 4 miles of Regalia. The bar, stay cool with the cocktail list. Steaks, the 8-ounce gorgonzola and bacon wrap filet. Try it, thank me later. In High Point Grocery, Super Low on Spotswood and Goodman Road, and Buster's Liquors. Make lunch or dinner easy at Ronnie Grizzani's, a Memphis tradition since 1909.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
At Gateway Tire, we go the distance for you.
When it comes to tires, auto repair, and car maintenance, Gateway has it all. Gateway Tire and Service Center is here to help you with all your service and tire needs. Choose from Yokohama, Toyo, Firestone, and Michelin. The list goes on and on. We have tires for all your needs and budgets. And when it comes to service, Gateway Tire has the most experienced mechanics and state-of-the-art equipment. Come see us for any repairs, alignment, struts, air conditioner, schedule maintenance, and more, including brakes with a free brake inspection. Then take advantage of the Gateway credit card. Apply today for stress-free financing made easy with no annual fee. Ask about our 6-month deferred interest with any purchase over $149. Go to gatewaytireandservice.com for great deals and coupons. Gateway Tire and Service Center has it all for you and your family.
At Gateway Tire, we go the distance for you.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
What I'm saying is, this is the anthem. Throw all your hands up.
The executive director of the World Golf Championship FedEx St. Jude Invitational, Daryl Smith, he joins us now after a lot of great announcements yesterday. The defending champion, Justin Thomas, going to be back in. Crowd favorite Rory McIlroy, who had the duel on Sunday 2 years ago against Brooks Koepka, he will be in the field. And Daryl, we look forward to the tournament. We're getting close. I loved being out at TPC Southwind last Friday. You can see it all coming together. You told us that it is. We just heard from our friend Pat Donahue at the Rendezvous that they're going to be there in the pit with other great barbecue people around town, including Walker Taylor and Central. We can't wait, Daryl. It's coming together. We're back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It feels good. It feels a lot different than it did this time last year, and just being out here on site every single day, and seeing the work that's going into the site, and really to see the excitement building. The excitement building from our team and our staff, and then with our corporate partners and our volunteers. It feels good to be back and to have the third playing of WGC here at TPC Southwind.
And how excited are you for the announcements yesterday? Rory coming in, Colin Morikawa, also had Justin Thomas, the previous winner. I mean, how excited are you for the field this year?
Yeah, I think it's I think for everybody it was it was a nice announcement, and I have felt pretty confident. For quite some time that we will continue to add some firepower to the field. That the Olympics has, delayed some commitments, but I was never, concerned that the field is going to be unbelievable. The field is going to be at the same level that it has been at the World Golf Championship. Players tend to, create their schedule around WGCs, and to announce 3 players of that caliber in the Open champion and Colin Morikawa, and then, of course, our defending champion, Justin Thomas, and then, the true, probably one of the biggest stars in the game of golf, and Rory McIlroy. It doesn't get too much better, but, we're not done yet. There's going to be some more big names that will be added to this list by the time we get to next Friday, and the field is shaping up just to be as it was the first 2 years of a WGC. It'll be phenomenal, and it'll be a lot of reason why to come out.
So true, Daryl. We're really looking forward to it, and we'll be out there on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday all day, those 3 days from TPC Southwind. There will be some changes, but we will adapt to those. Much better condition than we were in a year ago, and we're really looking forward to it. Daryl, Colin Morikawa, what he did a week ago Sunday, rather. No, it was this last Sunday. What he did at the Open Championship, now with 2 majors at that age, he's going to be one of the public, the ticket buyers, really, really popular players.
He is. He's unbelievable to be playing, and he's played in 2 major championships. So he's played more. The first time he's played in 2 major championships, he wins them. And that's pretty special. The stage is not too big for Colin Morikawa. I mean, just due to his early success on the PGA Tour at his age. He's won the Memorial Tournament, which is a big-time tournament. He's also, won 2 major championships, and he's won a World Golf Championship this year. So, a guy like him, and just, to see his performance so early in his career, it gets you thinking just what his career will look like. But, a guy like, he's so young, and has had such great success. I'm sure that he'll continue on a meteoric rise.
Daryl, even outside of the field, I got to imagine more than the golfers that will be there. It's just you guys are chomping at the bit to get fans back out
the party.
Yeah. Well, it's there's no doubt about it. I mean, our team works all year around for 1 week. I mean, and that 1 week is filled with a lot of familiar faces, a lot of the corporate partners that, stand behind us and make this event so successful, a lot of volunteers, the TBC Southwind team. I mean, it's a big week for us. I mean, it's what we work for, and it's the thing that we want to share with our community, and to be able to, produce this event this year and to know that our community will be on site to experience it along with us is very satisfying. And, we're definitely still cognizant of the current situation that we're in, and we want to have the safest event that we possibly can have. And, we have a lot of things in our favor of being an outdoor event, having 200 acres of property. And it's just a great feeling. We had our first volunteer meeting last night and had over 250 volunteers that were here on site at Southwind, and there's a lot of smiles on their faces. And I hope it just gets everybody back to feeling normal and to knowing that things are going to be okay, and the tournament's going to be a huge success with everybody's help.
Daryl, golf really did help to usher us back to sport, back to some sense of normality. Commissioner Monahan's leadership, when he could have kind of gone iffy on some things, he didn't. He stayed steadfast, and it has paid off. And we had to endure last year, but now we're going to be back. He definitely led on this issue.
Yeah, and I think that a proud moment for us as being PGA Tour employees is that we knew things were always going to be constantly changing. I mean, the world is a constant change. I mean, that's the world that we live in, and we wanted to adapt to what the current situations are. And I think that that's something that has been has been very apparent by us, is that we are there is no one size fits all. We've been cognizant of the different communities that we play in, the restrictions that are in that community, and we have really told ourselves, and hopefully we have is proofs in the pudding that we have been true partners, and we want to do everything in a reasonable way, but we do feel like we're able to conduct our events in a very safe manner. And I think you can just watch golf on TV that there's a lot of people that feel that same way, and it's and like I said earlier, it just it feels a lot better than it did this time last year.
Daryl, we have to go, but when we join, we'll have more time with you on Tuesday when we fall in at 3:30. But as we get out, I want to ask you this: with the news of the conference football upheaval, you being a big Tennessee Vol fan, have you done the MapQuest mileage to Norman and Austin yet on the Google machine?
Yeah, just bring them on, I guess. Everybody wants to come to the SEC. Bring everybody on. We'll figure it out later. So that's we welcome everybody.
That's right. Daryl Smith with the golf tournament with the WGC FESJI Executive Director. Thank you for your time, Daryl. Have a great weekend. I know y'all are working can to can't right now, but have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. Daryl Smith with us. He'll be back with us on Tuesday at 3:30, and then the following Tuesday we'll be out there. I said we'll fall into our regular run of Tuesdays. We only have one more until it's tournament week.
Always a fun 3 days being out there.
It is.
Always a just fantastic 3 days.
Over and under Prono Pup intake that week for you.
Oh, so I enjoy Prono Pups.
Well, I do too.
I'll probably go one, though. I'm going to have to limit myself. I got to keep up my girlish figure.
One a day or one the whole week?
One the whole week. Got to keep up my girlish figure.
Wow.
Okay.
Got to watch. I'm putting on LBs.
I said today when I walked in, look how fit you look. You look like a tight end, not a lineman.
Black is slimming. I'm wearing a black shirt today. That's why you're saying that.
No, I one a day. Yeah, that's mine. I'm gonna have. We're out there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Mine's 3 minimum.
I'm gonna have to be careful. Gotta be careful.
It'll be fun. We're out there. The whole crew will be out there for those days. We look forward to it. Great lineup of sponsors for that, just like we had for SEC Media Days that I just got back from Birmingham today. From when we come back, we start hour number 2 on this Friday afternoon. We don't start our weekend until 6 o'clock. 2 more hours of us. Please stay with us. We start 4 o'clock with Bruce Marshall from the Goal Sheet. He's next.
I'm Brian Elder. The great Kimmons Wilson of Holiday Inn had a slogan: the best surprise is no surprise. And that's so true. When I sit at your kitchen table, you're going to understand exactly what I'm going to do to your roof. From the underlayment to the hip shingles and ventilation, the flashing, the wood repairs, the cleanup, the crew safety, the warranty. It's amazing how many customers sign contracts being told none of that stuff. But the best surprise is no surprise. Insurance claims. Talk to your friends. More and more claims are being rejected, and only experienced claims specialists are getting those terrible decisions overturned. So if you don't hire me, please hire someone to manage the process with the experience to see it through. The best surprise is no surprise. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Even in times like these, special occasions happen. And when an occasion calls for special, it calls for 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. From the spectacular 36-ounce porterhouse paired with a Ferrari Carano Cabernet, to the jumbo lump crab cakes, to the raw bar with oysters fresh off the boat from the Gulf and the East Coast, there is simply no finer dining experience in Memphis than 117 Prime in the heart of downtown. These are complicated times, but if you want simply the best, you want 117 Prime.
Start your engines, Mid-South. Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike is ready for the Enjoy Your Summer Style sales event. Get plenty of pulling power and more standard features than Mazda CX-5 and Ford Escape in your new 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. And hit the road in a 7-passenger 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. We Gossett at $259 a month. All powered by our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So don't miss the Enjoy Your Summer Style sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, 750 loyalty rebate, 48 months, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Outlander NZO 16672, MSRP 29480, Cross NC 003186, MSRP 27725. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 7/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
At Mossy Oak Golf Club, it's nature's golf, the connection with nature in West Point, Mississippi. At Mossy Oak Golf Club, the combined philosophy of the George Bryan family, course architect Gil Hance, and the #1 brand in outdoors, Mossy Oak, they have delivered the full experience. Guests are greeted with the gentle charm of the region. In partnership with Old Waverly, the two courses deliver an unrivaled experience. The only location in the Mid-South with two top 100 courses in one location, across the road from each other. The cottages at Mossy Oak open to the golf course. Spacious accommodations. Contact Chris Graves at 662-424-1000 or Chris Graves at mossyoakgolf.com. Stay and play with seasonal rates that end a summer getaway, fall football golf trips, businesses wanting to have a company retreat for their employees or to entertain customers. The course follows the contours of the rolling prairie and oak tree stands in West Point, Mississippi. Contact Chris Graves, Sales and Marketing Manager at 662-524-1000 or go to mossyoakgolf.com.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything! A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
Bellyacre's motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. 2 great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Dare Ya or the Double Dare Ya, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Bellyacres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Bellyacres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Bellyacres.
We are
Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We welcome you back in for the second hour of our show on this Friday afternoon. Dave will be back with us on Monday, and he will have a lot to catch up on as we're all trying to sort through this. Big number 71, Gabe Kuhn, in with me until 6 o'clock, being produced by Bryant Dacus. Great job by both of y'all all week, helping drag me across the finish line at SEC Media Days. We always visit with Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet on Fridays. We have fallen into this 4 o'clock time, and we love having him. Bruce Marshall joins us now from the Gold Sheet. And Bruce Marshall, I know yesterday you were at ACC Media Days in Charlotte. Tell us everything that happened there and the reaction and the hallway conversation to the 2-ton nuclear device dropped at the SEC Media Days.
Yeah, that was. I was actually up there on Wednesday in Charlotte, and came back Wednesday night. I'm down in Florida now. I'm in Savannah actually right now, but we came down here. So I was there the first day. That news broke later Wednesday afternoon. So right as we were all going to dinner, and that was all of a sudden that was like the topic everybody was talking about. It's very interesting. There were some ACC people who thought that if Texas ever did this, and I guess dragging Oklahoma along with them, that the ACC might be who they called, because at one point, and Texas has talked about this at times over the last few years, and as so long as 10 years ago, but the ACC was willing at one point to accept Texas with the Longhorn Network. I don't know that the SEC was ever ready to do that. The Longhorn Network, though, has not worked out nearly as well as Texas had hoped or as well as ESPN hoped. I think function mostly of timing bad. I mean, Texas football started to tail off right when they opened up the Longhorn Network. So they haven't really been able to clear on top tier cable anywhere outside of Texas. But bottom line is that, it shocked everybody. And this has been in the works for a while. Now that I'm piecing more of it together here the last couple of days, we heard about it for the first time the other day. That's not the first time Texas and Oklahoma brought this up with the SEC. This has been going on for a few months. And I think it's probably going to happen.
And with that, seems like I think the overarching sentiment from a lot of people that know college football, that have seen how it played out over the years with realignment, it's the kiss of death for the Big 12. Do you think it's possible they can make the requisite calls and the requisite connections to save the Big 12?
For the time being, yes, and they'll probably try to replace Texas and Oklahoma, and Memphis could come into play in this. I know you guys, I'm sure, have been talking about that all day today. BYU, I think, is who they're going to first call, and for a variety of reasons, they have a national fan base, and also BYU would be their first call. I could see them doing that, but I don't think this is a new round now of conference shuffling. There's some different dynamics going on now, and Texas and Oklahoma are going to have to deal with this too, and they figured it, and they know this is coming too. But they have all these major conferences now. They have the media rights for football and basketball, and they own them through the next TV contracts. In the Big 12's case, that's another 5 years. So Texas and Oklahoma, it's going to cost them a lot to get out of this. This is back. Maryland had the same deal and was in court 2 years with the ACC when it was extracting itself and to take its media rights with it to the Big Ten. It's not a cheap buyout, but that means Texas and Oklahoma, though, I'm sure. I mean, they know that's coming, so they're looking long term, and they're just figuring out that, hey, the long game here, we're going to be better off in the SEC long run. I do think this portends some other moves coming up, though, as long as some of these schools are willing to bite the bullet and go to court to get out of the media rights that the Pac-12 and other conferences too. Watch USC and UCLA in the next couple of years. I think the Pac-12 is in trouble as well at some point pretty soon. And a lot of that is the media stuff with the Pac-12. It's all about TV dollars now. Geography doesn't mean as much. The Pac-12 is not maximizing its potential. And I think this is the start of something else that's going to be going on in the Big 12. How it's going to look in 5 years, 6 years, if it looks like anything at all, could be a lot different. We'll see.
And what has been the issue with that sort of region? The Midwest region, Kansas State, Mizzou obviously for a little bit, Nebraska. But what has been, the Big 8 didn't really survive on its own. What has been the issue with that sort of region?
Great question.
In those conferences?
Always fractious.
Yeah, it's always been fractious, but TV was another thing, and the way. The Big Ten has set the template really for everybody. They even set it before the SEC, and the SEC has followed suit. But the Big Ten and the Big Ten Network really changed everything. And give Jim Delaney credit. I didn't always agree with everything Jim Delaney did when he was commissioner, but he knew what the heck he was doing. And that's the gold standard of the Big Ten Network. And it's all figuring out TV rights and media rights and all of that. And the Big Ten figured out how to do that. They're in markets, and they've got big enough schools or big enough followings where they can make that happen. The old Big 8, and then they became the Big 12. Some of the schools there didn't have that sort of clout. They couldn't deliver media rights quite like some of these Big Ten behemoths could. And that's part of the reason the Big 12. I mean, there's some other things, too. It's like Brett said, fractious. And, looking back in the mid-'90s when they amalgamated with the surviving Southwest Conference members, that was always sort of a temporary feel about it. But everything comes down to TV dollars now. That's everything. And Oklahoma and Texas can say what they want, but they're thinking downstream here that we're going to be better off financially to do this. Or no, none of these schools would do this. That's why Maryland did it. They left the ACC, and that's why looks like Texas and Oklahoma are doing it out of the Big 12.
And it still surprised me with Maryland, especially every year in early December when you have the ACC Big Ten Men's Basketball Challenge on ESPN. And every year I still catch myself when I see Maryland playing Virginia, and I go, well, that's two ACC. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not in the ACC anymore. It's still hard for me to really put that together. Bruce, you talked about the reaction you got on Wednesday night. On Wednesday night, I'll leave the name out. He's a wonderful guy with a position, not in the media, but working with the media in a college football position. He does great work for college football, and he loves it. But he's based out of Dallas, and he's more old Southwest Conference, Big 12 oriented than he really is SEC. He doesn't dislike the SEC, but he gets a little put off by it. And there's a lot to be put off by it if you're not kind of truly baptized in all this. It just means more the bawdiness and sometimes the kind of the haughtiness of the SEC. So this person, I'm going to dinner Wednesday night, and I flashed the hook 'em horns at him, and he said it'll never happen. The next day he said, "Boy, never was short."
Yeah, never was short. Never lasted 24 hours. Yeah, I think this has been going on. I'm hearing stuff now today from some people that this stuff has actually been going on for months, that they've been talking about it. And this is all going on behind Texas A&M's back, apparently. And we know that the stink that they've raised down there in College Station, perhaps rightly so, but in the end, they're not going to be able to do much about it. I am wondering, though, you're going to have to, whenever a conference changes its composition, they're going to be able to redo the TV deals, too. So I'm thinking this would go up with Texas and Oklahoma coming in there. And otherwise, it's interesting. The Big 12 in recent years, then the last time they decided not to expand beyond 10 is because they didn't think any of those schools they were going to perhaps court could move the needle enough on their TV deals to make the slice of the pie get any bigger. They thought it actually might lessen some if they brought new entries in. So they didn't do anything. They didn't expand a few years ago when they were talking about it. So I think it's kind of interesting the way this stuff all plays out for TV and media rights now. That's the only reason this stuff is happening. And, and the SEC, one last thought. Several years ago, Brett might remember this. I wrote a story. I called it the Big 64. And at that point, I said, you're going to eventually see 4 super conferences of 16
right. Yeah,
each.
I do remember it.
And it's going to be the SEC, the Big 10, and the ACC. and some sort of an amalgamation of the Pac-12 and Big 12 left, and there might be a few other stray schools in there, but that's going to eventually be it. Now, that's a long time ago I wrote that, and it kind of, forgot about it in recent years, but I'm thinking now that might be what we end up seeing in 2024, 2025. That's what this whole thing's going to look like, and it's just getting a seat at the table with the most TV dollars. That's the biggest deal, and that's what's going to happen.
SEC set the precedent, 16 teams. That is going to be the precedent that is set, and I think a lot of these conferences are going to have to fall into line. Now, you mentioned that they didn't think at the time with the Big 12 that, like the Cincinnatis of the world, the Houstons, the BY, they didn't think that they would move the needle enough. Do you think they regret the decision not to take any of those guys on?
Possibly. One reason they didn't, Houston, that might have been the first call they made. But, as long as Texas is in the Big 12, Austin, I know, is a little bit away from Houston, but Texas figures into the TV deal in Houston and Dallas and anywhere else in Texas. So it wasn't as important to bring Houston in then. I would think Houston would probably get a call to replace Texas, I think, although there's still some Texas schools in the Big 12. The one the interesting one still at play here is BYU, because it has a national following. It also has its own network, and BYU operates a little bit differently, and they kind of use that network as a way to spread, the LDS message and all of that. But they do bring something to the table that Houston, Memphis, Cincinnati don't, and that's a national fan base. And so I would think, but there's some other reasons why BYU hasn't hooked up with another league in the last 10 years. The scheduling, they don't want to play games on Sundays and things like that. But I think they would be the first. That would be the first school to be that the Big 12 calls and see if BYU's loosened up a bit, and they take BYU in. I think in a snap, and BYU would want to be at this table again too. If this thing is going to shrink enough, they want to make sure they're part of the crowd. So I think BYU may well hook up this time. We'll see.
Should the Big 12 make a desperate attempt at bringing Nebraska home, bringing Colorado home?
Nebraska won't willingly do it because that would be financially not in their best interest. They're part of the Big Ten. What Nebraska wishes it didn't do last year was threaten to go rogue in football. That was short-sighted, and that was Scott Frost and them doing that. And the Big Ten had to sort of scold them and say, no, you don't. We own your media rights. Stop it. So if anything, the Big Ten might say we don't need Nebraska as much as Nebraska needs us. Nebraska willingly, though, would not leave the Big Ten. I don't think that Colorado right now would leave the Big 12 for whatever, the Pac-12 for whatever the Big 12 becomes. Even though the Big 12 has done a better job of generating revenue from its TV deals in the Pac-12 in recent years. So that's a thought, but I that's with Texas and Oklahoma in there. So I don't think Colorado and Nebraska would really be too interested in joining a Big 12 without Texas and Oklahoma.
What do you think about the positioning of the AAC with all the messaging of the P6 and everything else coming out of Mike Oresco in the commissioner's office there? What do you think about? Is it a precarious position? Is it a solid position? What do you think?
It's still to be determined. That's a good question. If I were Oresco in the AAC, I'd kind of sit around and wait to see what happens here. I mean, I don't know if they lose a Memphis or if they lose a UCF to definitely be on the move, or Cincinnati, that they would necessarily strengthen themselves by pulling in Middle Tennessee or some other conference teams from CUSA or North Texas or somebody like that. We'll see. I mean, if the AAC, if they do expand the college football playoff and the AAC can get one entry in there in a field of 12, I think the AAC will survive in some form here, but I would be a little reluctant if I were the AAC, if they lose one or two members, to start scrambling and looking for replacements unless they really think this carefully, unless they can get BYU in. But I don't know that this is the AAC actually might be in better shape than the Big 12 long term in this stuff, because there may be some Big 12 schools looking to get out too. And then you're talking Kansas, Iowa State, Oklahoma State,
right.
Kansas State. So there might be some sort of a future hooking up with some of these leftover Big 12. So we'll see.
Bruce, I know a lot of people are going to want a big piece of Texas. Oklahoma, they always do. A&M, they can't wait for it. Arkansas, they view it as a huge rivalry. LSU and Texas have had a little bit of a thing, and that can be rekindled really quickly. And you know the first time Texas goes to Tiger Stadium, the air conditioning will not be working in the visiting locker room. Which one who do you think Texas can immediately among the big names that they can pass, that they can show, yeah, we play football too?
Well, right now they better take care of business at home, and that means A&M. I think they've lost, and there's Texas people. They might not want to admit it because you know the way Texas people are. But the ones who are honest about it will say, look, A&M, might be in a better position than us right now, and that's untenable for us. I do want to mention about 10, 11 years ago when the Pac-10 was looking to expand, they were going hard into the Big 12 in Texas and Texas A&M and Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and Baylor were their first targets there. Colorado and Utah came about later. And Texas was thinking about it, and so was A&M. Gene Stallings is the one who told the A&M board in his place on it, don't do this. Let's hold out for the SEC.
Yep.
So Gene Stallings has a lot to do with the SEC, A&M's hooking with the
Rick Perry.
SEC. Yes, and Rick Perry. And Texas, the Longhorn Network at that point sort of prevented them from joining the Pac-12. But this has taken a lot of different turns. It's been paused, though, for about 8 or 9 years. And now it might be starting up again. So we'll see how it goes.
Always a work in progress.
Which dormant rivalry excites you the most, A&M or Arkansas, when you're talking about Texas?
Probably A&M and Texas, because although Texas is playing Arkansas this year, that series stopped on an annual basis after 91. As last year, Arkansas was in the Southwest Conference. And they've been a couple times since in a couple bowl games. But the A&M Texas rivalry endured until A&M went into the SEC. So I think that's the one really that means the most in the state of Texas. A few of us who remember 68, 69, 70, and the old Arkansas-Texas games, yeah, but A&M has been a longer
And 71
rivalry.
in the rain at War Memorial in Little Rock, Bruce, when the Arkansas splattered Texas.
31-7.
Yes,
Mike
sir.
Saint. I remember him running, yeah. And
Oh,
it
the
was,
great Mike Saint, old number 44, and a saint of a human being, a great guy.
Yeah, and so Arkansas blew the Cotton Bowl that year, though, and Texas still kind of backed into it. But, yeah, I think A&M Texas is going to be the one. You talk about blood boiling. It's not going to mean as much for Arkansas. Now, the hate A&M already's had it for Texas. It's going to rise up double or triple.
Right. Can you triple hate?
I know. That's the one. That's the one that's going to – the blood's going to boil.
Is it not just a baseline for hate? Not in sports, Bruce, not in sports. Real quick, we got to get out. So a little bit, not a lot, but gettable, meaning one or two, about Bama being gettable. Anybody at ACC talking about Clemson being gettable?
There's some talk about North Carolina, and I missed Dabo's day there. I was there for Mac's day, and he's pretty confident. Howell's back at quarterback. It looks like he reminds me of Baker Mayfield a lot, so I think they've got a puncher's chance if they can tighten up the defense a little bit. But Clemson is still the overwhelming choice there, and it's sort of the race for second, at least in Clemson's half. But North Carolina's half is a little bit more interesting. Miami thinks it has a shot. Derek King is apparently okay. He showed up at Charlotte on Wednesday. He wasn't limping, so I guess his knee is okay. He said he's going to play. But if it's not North Carolina, it's hard to see anybody challenging Clemson. I think that's going to be the ACC title game. It might be kind of interesting, but Clemson's still definitely the team to beat.
Bruce, as always, tell our listeners how they can get more information about you, about the goal sheet, and please start running the little Super Bowl columns.
Yeah, we're doing this stuff on the website here, so we're doing some adjustments there. So I'll try to get that stuff up from the past as soon as I can. But you're right, football season ain't that far away, closer than we think. And so check us out online, goldsheet.com, subscription stuff there. We'll start putting some stuff on the website as soon as we get this new look in there, which will be pretty soon. In the meantime, baseball picks every day. My picks every day on MLB. They're also at Vegas Insider and DonBest.com.
Bruce, have a great weekend. Be safe, and you're in a great place in Savannah, but I bet it's humid. But stay cool and be well.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bruce Marshall from the Goal Sheet with us every Friday afternoon. One thing from baseball, we'll get to this with Tim Doolin when it comes up at 4:30. A trade deadline looming a week from tomorrow on the 31st. Craig Kimbrell is going to be dealt by the Cubs. Will the Dodgers have to admit and move on from Kenley Jensen and maybe go out and get Craig Kimbrell?
I got to say, I felt bad for him last night. Kenley Jansen.
When that reliever, when it goes bad for them, it is an emotional, emoting time to feel sorry for them. Aren't they on the highest of high wire acts maybe out there in sport? When it's 3 up, 3 down, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, they make it look easy, no drama ninth. It feels like they can go forever, and then they're gone from the sport in 2 years.
Right? It happens when you throw that hard.
Mm-hmm.
But
pumping gas.
But Kenley, did you see it last night? What happened to Kenley Jansen?
I just saw the lowlights.
Oh, my. Well, he had the bases loaded. He could have gotten out of it if it weren't for the check swing that was an absolute – I mean, he went through. There was no question about it. Would have been strike
always
3.
Do. I'd call it a strike every time if I were the umpire. First of all, there's no such thing, and you use the right terminology. There's no such thing, though, as a check swing. You either check or you swing.
But he walked.
But I know what you mean.
He walked a run home last night, and he should have gotten out of the inning.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I felt terrible for him.
And they're fragile like kickers, too, the relievers.
Yes, there's no question, because they don't get that much time. Mm-hmm. And if you have a bad outing, that could lead to another bad outing because you're getting an inning, maybe 2. And I mean maybe 2 at a time.
Yeah, and one blow-up blows the ERA up, and and it's stuck on the scoreboard when you go in every time.
Confidence is shot. And if we're being honest, Kenley Jansen, this has been easy to see for a minute. His sort of downfall, and I'm surprised they haven't moved on yet.
The Memphis Redbirds tonight go for a new team record. They set the record last night with a dozen. Tonight they go for a baker's dozen, cousin, on the road, going for the 13th win in a row. And I'm going to bring this up with Tim because Tim made it to AAA, was a great AAA player in the Orioles system. I so reject, and Bryant, you're there for all the games, I so reject people that nobody cares what the standings are. How many times have we talked the Redbirds this year as a subject matter on this show?
More than a couple.
But when did we really start talking it?
When they started winning.
When they started
winning.
In anything, I don't care if it's the 7th grade football team playing on Tuesday afternoon, the best marketing and way to create interest is in winning.
Oh, yeah.
Team chemistry goes higher with winning. Winning leads to more winning. I'll tell you that right now.
It's why we have a scoreboard. It makes it a lot more fun. And on the Olympic, we'll get to more Olympics at about 4:45. I love the Olympics, but my least favorite Olympic sports are the ones with judges. I want a scoreboard.
Yeah, you're right.
One of the beauty of
track
and field. Well,
there's a scoreboard, but
if you sling that shot put further than the other fella, you won.
There's a scoreboard with the judges. There's still a scoreboard, but the
judges decide what goes on the scoreboard.
Yes, it's in the eye of the beholder scoreboard, and we don't like that.
Yeah, because do you really know a good dive from a bad one?
Well, I know that I couldn't go up there and dive well. I know that my splash would be huge. Yeah. Generally, if I'm watching a dive, Brett, I just know less splash the better. Right? Is that generally what we're looking at?
I mean, I'm just impressed.
That's what I'm told.
Every time.
Yeah, that's what I'm told.
When I dive, bigger splash, the better. Cannonball. That's when it's more fun.
Can opener.
Big old belly buster from the high dive. That's when it's really fun. But I can't. I'm not much on the judge from Liechtenstein weighing in.
They have their ways, and I mean, as far as I'm concerned, when you're talking about gymnastics, I don't know how Simone Biles anyone's even close to her.
Now,
she does things
really
that no one's ever.
No one's ever about it.
I watch it, and no one does anything even remotely close to her. I don't know how anyone, when you talk about second, how they're even remotely in the same ballpark, same realm.
It's not even real. She may be more impressive than Michael Phelps was in the pool, and you knew watching just with every stroke, you knew that was something unlike anything you've ever seen. And I saw Mark Spitz and Phelps separated from that.
And also Simone Biles, her sport, the longevity.
Oh yeah,
it's impossible. Well, you can swim in a pool for a long time. You can do that forever.
Yeah, good point.
But Simone Biles, for her to be still around doing what she's doing, age 24 is old for gymnasts.
That's insanely old for gymnastics.
So what she's doing, I mean, It's hard to ever say anything's more impressive than Michael Phelps because of how many golds, how many medals he has.
Nadia Comaneci was really just the 76 Olympics in Montreal. That was really it.
Yeah, but to see what she's done over the years,
ridiculous,
just unbelievable.
I'm glad the Olympics are here. I'm sure going to try to watch a lot. I'm not worried about the time difference. If I'm watching live or tape or whatever it is, I'm going to watch. But again, if we find out any news, we're going to give it. We can't worry about your VCR settings.
Right.
We do want you to stay with us, though. Stay with us. Make your settings for Tim Doolin and Baseball Talk. He's next on Sportstime.
Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane comes your way every weekday morning from 7 till 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Brian Elder. The great Kimmons Wilson of Holiday Inn had a slogan: the best surprise is no surprise. And that's so true. When I sit at your kitchen table, you're going to understand exactly what I'm going to do to your roof. From the underlayment to the hip shingles and ventilation, the flashing, the wood repairs, the cleanup, the crew safety, the warranty. It's amazing how many customers sign contracts being told none of that stuff. But the best surprise is no surprise. Insurance claims. Talk to your friends. More and more claims are being rejected, and only experienced claims specialists are getting those terrible decisions overturned. So if you don't hire me, please hire someone to manage the process with the experience to see it through. The best surprise is no surprise. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Is there a room in your house that never seems to cool or heat the way you think it should? Then a Mitsubishi ductless system may be a solution for you. Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Ductless systems are relatively new to the United States, but Mitsubishi ductless systems are a proven energy saver because the system does not have any ductwork, so it can blow colder air in the summer and warmer air in the winter. Mitsubishi's inverter-driven compressors automatically adjust to your cooling or heating demands to deliver ideal comfort while only using the energy that is needed. No more, no less. Do you have a bonus room, sunroom, or master bedroom that never cools right? Maybe a new addition to your home or a garage you want heated or cooled. Now you can do it efficiently. Call Choates today at 755-4797 or visit our website at choateshvac.com to schedule your free estimate. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the biggest Callaway trade-in event of the year. Starting this Thursday through Sunday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 75% trade-in bonus towards new Apex irons and Epic woods. Both the Apex and Epic families are designed with artificial intelligence for faster ball speeds. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com or call the store nearest you to schedule your free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Like, I don't know. Can you just pick something and order? Yeah, but anyway, where are you at? You don't...
It only takes 2 seconds of distracted driving to become a statistic. You can lose your driving privileges, your vehicle, face jail time, or even lose or take a life. Slow down, Memphis. The life you save may be your own. Brought to you by the Memphis Police Department. Traffic Operations.
Hey, Mid-South, it's time to trade up at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah during the Trade Up to a Kia sales event. Hey, what's happening over there, Jeff Allen?
We got it going on, and we're ready to help you trade up to your next Kia. I've got a 2022 Kia Soul, not a lease, and 0.9% APR, $289 a month. 2022 Kia Sportage, 0% APR, and only $365 a month. And if you want American-made, we got it with 2022 Kia K5 now, $374 a month.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty program.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All $29.99 down payment, 60 months, sold in 715-0981, 0.9% MSRP, $20,685. Sportage in 79.79.540, 0% MSRP, $26,060. K5 NGO 950.54, 0.9% MSRP, $25,840. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 7/31/2021. Dealer stock only. Must finance through Kia on APR offer.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Dave will be back with us on Monday, and we know, and I'm not rubbing it in at all. As I've said, I feel sorry for diehard Cub fans to be in this era, this run that was supposed to be dynastic, and the pieces were there. When Dave's back with us on Monday, we'll see just how much of the full dealing and the selling off the Cubs have done and will do as we lead into the trade deadline a week from tomorrow night on the 31st. So a lot of speculation around baseball. Tim Doolin joins us now to talk all of that. And Tim, before we ended the last segment, we were talking last night, it was painful to watch the Dodgers reliever Kenley Jansen come undone, as it always is for those guys out there on that high wire act. When it's rolling, they make it look easy. Dennis Eckersley, I still think one of the great statistics ever. That year of years he had when he had more saves than base runners allowed.
Yeah, there's no question. You know, what's tough is I don't know that the Dodgers have another guy that obviously they don't, that they would be confident in to make their closer. Because when you make a decision like that, it's like you're basically telling Kenley Jansen that you're giving up on him, and it's kind of hard to go back to him and say, okay, well, we're going to give you another shot at this. We want you to have confidence.
It's tough to do that.
That's a tough thing. And last night,
it's like changing quarterbacks.
He got unlucky last night.
Yeah, no, he got unlucky. I mean, they missed the call on the check swing, and I would say if Mookie's playing, he catches that ball in right field. You know, if the second baseman just stretches to catch the flip instead of just standing on the bag. I mean, so the bottom line is it's not gone very well for Kenley. You know, he's blown the last three opportunities he's had. So, and those games are vitally important, especially when they're playing the Giants.
But how important is it for a manager, for the confidence of Kenley Jansen? Dave Roberts says he's sticking with him.
Well, like, again, you don't know if that's Dave's decision or if that's the front office decision, or if it's a situation where they don't have another guy that they feel like is better than Kenley right now.
Right.
And you can't just go out and trade for a big-time closer. They're not giving those guys up.
Well, maybe the Cubs are. Maybe the Cubs would deal, because the Cubs, it's full sell-off, and I hate to see it. And this week, 3 out of 4 the Cardinals took from them. That series could have gone easily the other way. It could have been 4-0 Cardinals. It could have been 3 out of 4 Cubs. It was really just, to use the George Lapidus line from years ago, it was really just two dogs barking at each other, neither going anywhere that matters.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. But here's the problem: is if once you make a decision that you're going to go after say the Cubs closer, you're going to have to give up a lot, because they know that you got to have him. B, you're basically saying we're done with Kenley Jansen, and then you look back and you go, dang, we gave up 3 of our top prospects or 2 of our top prospects in our minor leagues, and is that going to pay off?
Right. MLB trade deadline approaching. We have a couple moves made. Jock Peterson, obviously, to the Braves. They're still in the hunt. We'll see what happens with them. They got to turn it on. But yesterday, Nelson Cruz to the Rays and a trade with the Twins. How much better does that make that lineup?
Oh, I think it makes them, a lot better, because here's a guy that's obviously outlasting the test of time, because he's 40 years old, still putting up monster numbers. He stays in the American League. So, here's a guy that adds some serious thump in their lineup, and he's not just the guy that's going to swing as hard as he can and hit some home runs. This guy does damage from foul pole to foul pole, and he's a consummate leader and team player. I think it's going to be awesome for the Rays. Not so good for the Yankees, but awesome for the Rays.
Right. Tim, the Yankees, if they're going to have that push, it's getting close to time for the push to start. Maybe it is in the embryonic stages of it with the proverbial. There's always a lot of baseball to play, but this is the time to start that push for one of those wild card spots. I think to win the division is already out.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I was talking to Terry Bevington earlier. I mean, they're only 2 or 3 games out of the wild card. That's what they got to hope to get some consistent play from some of their guys and just start putting together some wins and then kind of look at their schedule and say, look, by this time we got to be here, you know. And they have not done that all year long, you know. And what's frustrating, I'm sure, for the fans is you look at that lineup on paper and it's like, man, this is a World Series type team, but they just haven't been performing. I think there's too much swing and miss in their lineup, to be honest with you.
It's a lot of swing and miss in the sport, but they have a lot in their lineup.
For sure.
Bryant and Gabe and I were talking before the break. The Redbirds winning 12 in a row, team record, trying to set a new one tonight, going for 13 on the road in Louisville in this very different year for minor league baseball. It's not even called it's not, well, it is AAA, but there's a different designation for it. It's not the PCL. We know that. Tim, you were on a lot of long bus trips. You played and it got to AAA, and that's quite an achievement. The crowd that says, I've got an agent friend of mine, you know him well, in Little Rock. You're better friends with him than I am. He said we shouldn't even keep score at minor league baseball, and I greatly reject that. He said, okay, maybe AAA, but AA on down, it should be a 2 hour and 20-minute time put on the clock, and you just play, and everybody goes home after that. I know winning matters. Did it matter to you to win at AAA?
It mattered to me to win at all levels. When I was in A-ball, AA, and AAA. I mean, look, you're trying. Here we go again, and trying to put guys in categories of sabermetrics and all those things, and they quantify the tools. I mean, you win with guys that have desire to win. Dustin Pedroia, Mookie Betts. Those are the teams that win championships. And if you're not playing, you know, it's like everybody getting the trophy these days. It's like, what? You got to keep score. I mean, because that's what motivates players. And I can tell you, I didn't realize this, and it was the truth is, if you look at the Redbirds, they might have 6 to 7 guys that are truly prospects. The rest of them are just filling the roster out for those 6 prospects. And it was the same way when I played. All right. I didn't think that. I was in between a prospect and sometimes toward the end of my career, probably a suspect. But I still played to win. I still wanted my team to win, and I played hard. So I think you can't at all levels, you still should play to win a game. I don't care if it's rookie ball, because you're trying to teach that culture. I mean, look at all these Fortune 500 companies. When they see that you were an athlete and part of a team sport, that's a bonus for you.
Right.
They want guys like that.
Winning helps everybody, and it carries over season to season too. Unbelievable take to say that you shouldn't keep score at the lower levels. Winning,
I didn't
helps.
mention any names, did I,
Yeah,
Tim?
of course. Winning helps everybody, and they're doing a lot of winning in the NL West. I don't know if I remember a wild card race being wrapped up this early. I mean, I don't see anybody giving anyone a test in the NL West, catching up to the Padres. Any one of those 3 teams, I think, do you think the same could win the World Series?
Sure they could. Absolutely. I mean, I think all these teams, the Dodgers, the Padres, they got guys that are banged up right now. I mean, and it's to say that you're not going to have more.
I'm just not a Gabe Kapler believer.
You're going to have more guys that are going to get hurt between now and the end of the season, and so it's going to be a tricky thing on A, what happens at the trade deadline, and B, there's going to be the team that ends up winning are going to have unsung heroes that came out of nowhere that just that helped them get across the finish line, and so and then you got clubs that have their superstars that are banged up. They're going to try to figure out a path to get them healthy. To where it's not too late to make sure that they can make a run.
The Arizona Diamondbacks, they are 30-69. So that's easy math. They have 63 games left. They have to win 10 games the rest of the year. Well, they have to win 11 games to not join the 1962 expansion New York Mets. Casey Stengel's bunch that he rhetorically asked, can anybody here play this game? They went 40-120. They didn't even play 2. They didn't even make up 2 games that year. Tim, can the Diamondbacks win 10 more games out of the next 63? Or 11 out of the next 63 to get to 41?
You would think just talking about it, you should be able to say, heck yeah, they will. But, you just don't know. They're not very good.
Well, they've only won 3.303 so far.
Right. And so unfortunately, that division's pretty tough.
Yeah, they got to run into those three big boys. That's the rub, isn't it, Gabe?
Yes, it is. And I hate bringing these things up that I'm about to bring up. I have to ask you your opinion because you'd know a lot of people in the MLB, coaches, players, the whole 9 yards. You have the electronic device that they're talking about in the lower levels of the minors that they're going to start testing for catcher signals. So they're not going to be flashing signs. Is this necessary? Or because I've talked to many guys, catchers, who take pride in trying to hide their signals.
Look, I think first of all it disrupts the pitcher and the catcher if you start doing that. They're used to it. They're working hand in hand. Here we go again with Manfred trying to figure out a way to speed the game up. That's not you can speed the game up if you want to.
Call strikes. Tell his umpires to call strikes. He'll speed it up.
Well, that and the fact of the matter is, I think we've talked about this. If I take my family to a game, I'm planning on it being an event. It's not
3 hours.
Right.
I'm not going to say I'm going to the game or I'm not going to go to the game if it only lasts this long or if it lasts that long.
That's right.
I can get up and leave whenever I want to leave, but they're focusing too much on all these things that aren't relevant instead of doing things that are relevant.
Tim, with the news,
make these stadiums where it's more of a happening, like they're doing in Atlanta. They're doing it in some of these minor league stadiums too. Like
sure are. Doing it well.
Huntsville just built a great one. Nashville's got a great one where all
I was there last Saturday night, Tim.
Professionals are going and hanging out.
Mm-hmm. I was there last Saturday night, and it was a very young crowd. I don't mean young parents like you often see at a lot of minor league games. I mean really young people, 3s and 4 groupings of all girls or girls and guys or all guys. It was a really young crowd out last Saturday night in Nashville.
Those people eventually get married and have kids, right?
Yeah.
And those become fans. There you go. Right. So that's what they need to be doing, is trying to increase the fan base, and that's how you do it. Not by reducing the game 30, 45 minutes, and then all of a sudden people go, "Oh, I'm a fan now."
Tim,
it doesn't work like that.
We're up against the clock, so real quick, with the news this week of Texas and OU coming into the SEC, and it's going to happen, you already get a lot of calls from those coaches about players in this area and other areas that you work with. But give me a series. Give me a series for Texas going to another SEC team that you can't wait to see being played out.
Oh, stats. You just pick it, other than Missouri.
10 of them. Yeah,
I was at the tournament, the preseason tournament at the new Ranger Stadium, and it was Texas, TCU, Mississippi State,
Arkansas, Ole Miss,
Arkansas. So it was big time, and so we've got a Texas commit, we got a couple of OU commits, and it's gonna be big time baseball. And it's a big time conference, and lots of money being thrown out there. So I think it's going to be tremendous. It's just I think the current SEC teams are. It's like, okay, whatever. It's more of the same. So I don't think they're going to be super upset about it, because these guys are able to schedule enough games to where they've got this mathematically figured out how they're going to be able to host a regional.
The first time Texas goes back to Fayetteville, somebody on the official party had to be around when they were going the last time. They're going to say, "This is not what it looked like the last time we were up here."
You're exactly right.
Will be fun. Tim, thank you. Have a great weekend, and we'll visit next Friday.
Thanks,
Enjoy
Tim.
the ball.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks.
Tim Doolin talking baseball with us every Friday. Let's hit this break. When we come back, we talk the Olympics opening ceremony this morning. That's next on Sportstime.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy take you through lunch from 10 to 1 weekdays. Only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 355 dealers in America that sell Genesis cars, the one in Olive Branch, Genesis of Olive Branch, was top 50 in the country, top 10 in the region, and number 2 in the district. And guess what? They want to be number 1.
That means there are opportunities out there for you. It's the safest, and every new latest bit of technology that makes the experience of driving a car better, they've got it at Genesis of Olive Branch. If we start with the G70, the highest performing car I've ever owned, all the way to the G80 or the G90, the biggest of the sedans, you'll love everything about the car. If you would like to try the new SUV, the GV80, you call Vinny Gerard at 662-890-6684. He will bring it out to you. For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Swerving, speeding, and reckless driving can leave you in your own dust. Drag racing has its consequences. You can lose your driving privileges, your vehicle, face jail time, or even lose or take a life. So slow down, Memphis. The life you save may be your own. Brought to you by the Memphis Police Department, Traffic Operations.
Hey, if you're hungry for great Mexican food for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, got it. La Guadalupana. Guadalupana, Guadalupana. Choose from tacos, burritos, enchiladas, sizzling shrimp, beef, or chicken fajitas, and even a Cuban sandwich filled with Mexican sauces, chicken, ham, steak, jalapenos, avocado, and more. How about super nachos topped with melted cheese, beans, sour cream, guacamole, tomato, and jalapenos? All great with nice cold beer, domestic and imported. Good prices, generous portions, great service at 2 locations, Summer Avenue and Cordova Road. La Guadalupana.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Thank you very much, Bryant Dacus. We are close to wrapping up hour number 2 on this Friday, but the Olympics, they started this morning. And we're going to have over the Olympic run for the United States, for these airwaves, we're going to have that moment when everybody's really mad over some demonstration, some comment, some statement, some sign of protest. And I go back to this, and I don't want to sound like the old man, but it's true. There's nothing new going on, just different people doing it. It's only been done forever at the Olympics by someone often with United States of America on their uniform back to 68 with John Carlos and Tommy Smith, and that was just so big then. We're going to have those moments, and it's going to be freak-out moments for a lot of people. Gabe, it won't be for me. In 1968, by the same token that you had John Carlos and Tommy Smith wanting to protest and their own way of liberation, you had George Foreman very much red, white, and blue waving the flag.
It has happened forever. Different faces, different ways of doing it, different times. That's what we're arguing now is timing. The IOC has said that you can protest before, but not during or after. It's just there's so many
Someone
things.
will during.
Yes, it's just the amount of conversation and particulars around it. It's just if someone's protesting, they're protesting. And they're going to do it whether you tell them they can't or not.
That will make them want to do it even more.
Exactly.
I mean, you tell me to walk, that's when I crawl.
Right.
And you're going to have players wanting to do that. Gold medal or bust for men's basketball. That's the mission, isn't it?
Every year. Well, not every year. Every Olympics, every 4 years.
Yeah.
It has to be, right? You have the best talent. You always throw it out there. Yes, this year's not as good.
But that's only because the past has been so good.
But you have more than enough talent. You have more talent than any other team in the world. So gold medal or bust every year. Do I think this team will win gold medal? We'll see. I had to see game one and make my decision and
gold medal or bust for U.S. women's national team.
For them, it's a little different, isn't it? They were 0-2 in their exhibition schedule, right?
But a high bar set by their excellence.
Right, a very high bar. But is it on the same level as the men's basketball team in regards to dominance?
I don't think it's far from it.
It's not far from it. It's not quite
may not be in the same neighborhood, but it's in the same time zone.
Yes, it is. Of course, it is still the
Probably
same amount
same
of time.
area code.
But no, silver or gold every single time out. No questions asked.
And we will have
that's the expectation.
And we will have stories from names and places and countries we've never heard of that will really entertain us over these next few weeks. And the biggest thing it will be the safety. How many will it take? How many hospitalizations for a shutdown?
Oh God, for a shutdown,
one.
That's a lot of athletes. I wonder if one would do it.
Anything remotely resembling serious.
Honestly,
and how it would be met internationally.
I think one throws the antennas up. If you get two, it's where you gotta cut it.
And you're getting stories and stories out of clusters. John talked about the youth camp in upstate New York, and the percentage was very small. But we're already, like you said, we're back really alerted to the numbers, to the shock factor.
Yeah, the numbers have been, over the last month, they have ballooned up 20,000 cases per day. You can't ignore it. Nearly 30,000 cases per day. You can't, at some
point. You're saying it'll peak in August?
We'll see. And remember when we thought, isn't it unbelievable how many different narrative changes there have been? Remember the hot weather one was going to kill it?
I guarantee you can go back to it wasn't Rudy Gobert night, but it was in those days of March of 2020. I'm going to say
once it gets 95, it's going to kill it.
March 5th or 6th or 7th, I told Drew, I said, nothing to worry about. We know it's getting ready to be springtime and summertime. It'll burn it out.
Oh, God.
And I have such a distinguished epidemiology career.
Where'd you get your degree from?
I don't have one with epidemiology. No. But I did pass biology.
That's a start.
With what letter grade?
Well,
pass. You mean pass? As in I just passed.
Just barely
Not
got over the finish
not
line.
flying colors.
And it took a lot of help, if you know what I mean.
No, I hear that.
Always takes a lot of help. Have Bryant Dacus producing, Gabe Kuhn co-hosting, Dave will be back in. I got Drew on my mind telling my epidemiology story. Dave will be back in on Monday, but when we come back, we will visit with Greg Gaston to catch up from yesterday and talk Tigers with Greg to start the 5 o'clock hour. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Time.
Golf is back, and so is Miramichi. And just like every other year, there are improvements. This beautiful golf course sits on 330 acres. It provides more than 7,400 yards of championship-level golf, and the beauty that surrounds it is absolutely amazing. And guess what is back too? It's the Miramichi patio. Totally redone, revamped bathrooms, a full service bar, and on weekends, there'll be bands. Oh, by the way, 2 TVs, and it's now open to the public. You don't even have to play golf to catch the view from the Miramichi patio. But if you do want to play some golf, have we got deals for you? Senior golf for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday down to $30. The standard weekday rates, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as low as $32. Even on the weekends, it's under $50, and you get golf balls on the range. Play the most beautiful golf course in all of Shelby County. Go check out Miramichi.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. How old is your water heater? With most of the water heaters in the Mid-South located in the attic, the worst day you can replace your water heater is one day too late. It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. Plus, these energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. Most 10-year-old water heaters were about 65% efficient when they were new, compared to a tankless water heater from Conway Services that's up to 98% efficient. Plus, right now, get your tankless water heater from Conway Services for as low as $79 per month. Or I'll give you $250 for that old tank water heater. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. And you know, with over 8,000 5-star reviews, you know Google guaranteed Conway Services will be providing great customer service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Magic in Memphis. Excellence delivered. Where the world comes to showdown. To be the king of Grind City. Today's stars, tomorrow's legends. Taking care of business. Compete to conquer the world. Don't miss the World Golf Championships FedEx St. Jude Invitational. August 5th through 8th. For more information, visit WGCFedEx.com.
Hey, listen up, Mid-South. It's time to get your new ride on at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat with the biggest Make This the Summer event you've ever seen. Check out 2021 Dodge Challenger at $389 a month. Power up in a 2021 Dodge Charger at $429 a month. And get adventure ready in a 2021 Jeep Wrangler Sport, now just $539 a month. And don't forget to check out the all-new 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee L. Never a better time to trade or buy a new Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat from Gossett. So drive past the rest and come to the best, or shop online anytime at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost finance through Chrysler, 75 months at 3.99 APR, 3,500 down. Challenger MH586,606, MSRP 31,835. Charger MH602255, MSRP 33,435. Wrangler MW663938, MSRP 40,650. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 7/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
It's finally time to get out of the house. So make sure you stop by Family Leisure with great prices on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active with play gyms. In stock, ready for delivery. And by the way, installation from the pros, I always recommend that. Markdowns on remaining game room products and those beautiful massage chairs. And the hot tubs, they're going fast. Get out of the house and get to Family Leisure. Wooden Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Like, I don't know. Can you just pick something and order? Yeah, but anyway, where are you at? You don't...
It only takes 2 seconds of distracted driving to become a statistic. You can lose your driving privileges, your vehicle, face jail time, or even lose or take a life. Slow down, Memphis. The life you save may be your own. Brought to you by the Memphis Police Department, Traffic Operations.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final hour for this Friday afternoon. We want you to stay with us until 6 o'clock, and then the weekend can start for all of us. Yesterday, we didn't get to talk Tigers, but we catch up with Greg Gaston today, and I know Greg's been playing hurt with that laryngitis the last day or two. Appreciate him playing with pain. Coming off the DL for us in just a bit after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's our friends at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars test driven, all checked out bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if it's not on the lot, they go find that special car just for you. You're treated like family at DeSoto Auto Sales by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, but they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. They know we live in a world today that time really matters. That's why they want to get you in there and get you out, but no shortcuts taken. When you walk in, within 45 minutes, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less, in time to do it over your busy lunch hour and all kind of time to do it this weekend at DeSoto Auto Sales. Online at DeSotoAutoSales.com, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
And, of course, Greg Gaston from the Tiger Sideline, brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, and Neil's Bar and Grill. Greg, how's it going?
It's going all right, Gabe. Good to hear your voice. Good to hear Brett's as well. And, Brett, your voice is still strong after that long week down in Hoover. My gosh, all the shows you did aside from your own show, God bless you. Your voice still sounds strong. Mine is just fading away.
We need a lozenge sponsor. Come on, somebody step up out there. Greg brought to you by a lozenge sponsor.
Well, you're too kind, Gabe. But man, yesterday it just kind of hit me, and today it was rough on the air. But it happens every once in a while. You know, the sinuses start to drain. They got nowhere to go, and it just affects my voice. But I'll do the best I can for you guys as always, and appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, Greg. I was powered mostly by adrenaline and Coca-Cola. It's a great combination.
I'll go Diet Coke, but I hear where you're coming from.
And I heard you say today you don't feel bad. It's just the voice.
Oh, I feel great. I would have been at work if I felt bad, but no, I feel terrific.
Well, I'm glad you do, Greg. And we know the sea change that happened this weekend, and we mostly want to keep it on the Memphis Tigers football team for this segment. Whatever USC or whatever OU does and the other UT they do, they're going to do it. But with the domino effect for the Tigers, Greg, first and foremost, this is the most poised and the best prepared the Tigers have ever been, as long as either one of us have followed, watched, and covered them.
Absolutely. No question about it. And why it's pointed, I think most people understand, is that even though we're talking about Oklahoma and Texas and the SEC, it does have an effect on everybody else, the entire landscape of college sports. So that includes the University of Memphis. And yes, absolutely. The last time that they were talking about realignment, it was the Big 12. I think it was 2015. I don't remember the exact year. Brett, you know what I'm talking about, when all of a sudden
we thought we were in.
Right. We thought we were in, but there was a bunch of schools that were probably thinking that they were in. And it was not just those schools that you know from the American Conference. There were a number of teams and schools that were brought up. And in the end, the Big 12 was able to avoid having to even add one team and still feel good about themselves, where they were with their TV contract and so on and so forth, and nothing ever happened. Fast forward to now, and this does not seem like it's going to be one of those quick moves. Oklahoma, Texas scoots into the SEC. Everything else is fine, because we know, first of all, it could be absolutely devastating to the Big 12. We may never see the Big 12 like we knew it before. In fact, we won't, but will we still see the Big 12? So that's the question. You have everybody else that's affected in other conferences. Will the other power conferences add teams? What will they try to do? And, of course, with Memphis and the American Conference, is the American Conference going to take the bull by the horns, try to add some of those teams from the Big 12, strengthen their position in collegiate sports, or is it like it has been in the past where some of those American schools, there will be the attempt to poach them? And if that is the case, Cincinnati, Central Florida, Houston, and of course the University of Memphis, among others, have to be ready and have to be proactive. So there is a lot of things in the balance because of this news that we got hit with midweek.
Greg, how much has the Power Six messaging from Mike Oresco, the success in basketball and football, helped to be in the point they are right now? How much do you think it will help when we talk about realignment, possibly poaching some teams from the Big 12?
I don't think it helps generally, but it helps individually. In other words, I don't think other conferences who may look to add teams care that they're entitled. You know, they title themselves the P6. I don't think that matters. What matters to them is
the success.
Well, how strong is that Cincinnati team inside that so-called P6 conference? How strong is that Memphis team and then Memphis entity inside the P6, so-called P6 American Conference? I don't think the self-branding of P6 makes a difference, but the individual schools within the American Conference, that's where it matters. And I think there are a half a dozen schools in great position that deserve and certainly deserve now to be looked at by those power conferences if that's the direction that they need to go in. Obviously, if the American Conference can add West Virginia, those Texas teams right now that are in a lurch because of what's happening in the Big 12, that can make that a really, really strong conference. It's already a good conference. It can make it a really strong conference. So which direction? And the other thing is, too, and I'm sure you guys have talked about it, we talked about it, Laird Veach has a great connection with the Big 12. Mm-hmm. He has history with the Big 12. He has a resume with 2 different stops with the Big 12, actually 3 if you consider the Texas stop before he really got his career cranking. He's close friends with Bob Bowlesby. There's a lot of respect for each other. So if Memphis had to go down that avenue again with the Big 12, I think they're not only better suited, like you said, Brett, because of how much improvement we have seen academically and on the football field, but also because of the relationship that Laird Veach has with Bob Bowlesby, if they have to go down that avenue. But again, the hope is that the American Conference, already strong, can get much stronger by being the hunter as opposed to the hunted.
Greg, I heard you today. I heard every word you said, and I thought that is smart. It is wise words. Instead of kind of going off and chasing the Pac-12 or maybe the wrong allure of a ACC or something Big Ten, something this honestly is probably not realistic. Let's build a better AAC. Let's make it better, and I think they can. If you had to have some semblance of a merger or a working arrangement, who do you trust more running it, Bob Bowlesby or Mike Oresco?
Bowlesby has been in the business a long time, but Mike Oresco also has that television wheeling and dealing with contracts with television background, as well as his experience now as the commissioner. I certainly side toward Oresco because I know him. He's been on my show. He's been on your show.
Me too. He's
like
more forward thinking.
Yes, I certainly like him, and I say generally because I know as Memphians we were pretty upset with what happened at the end of the basketball season, and Mike kind of
time to
dodged
forgive
everything. Yeah, he dodged everything for a while, but I still like and respect Mike. I respect Bob Bowlesby as well. But I think, that forward thinking, the way he can deal with television contracts, the way he can sell, the way he's trying to sell, which goes back to Gabe's point, he's trying to sell the whole Power Six. I would love to run with this thing with Mike Oresco.
So I pitched this yesterday to Brett, and I want to know your thoughts, the palpability of this idea. A merger between the Big 12, the remaining 8 teams, and the AAC. And I think the SEC has already sort of set the precedent. 16 teams, super conference, big conferences. You cut off the bottom of the AAC, the Tulsas, the Tulanes, whoever you need to, ECU, cut them off the bottom. stick at 16. What do you think the probability of something like that is?
Let me interrupt, Greg. Gabe, do you cut off the one-sporters? Do you cut off Navy for football and Wichita State?
Theoretically, you'd have to.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Because the 8 that you have left,
got you.
The 8 you have left are going to be both.
And
sports.
it is every man for himself,
and the Big
Greg.
12.
It's only the strong survive, right? So I have no issues. You hate to see that, but if some have to be left behind, then some are left behind.
I've been left behind, Greg. I know how it feels. It's okay. Yeah. It's like Forrest Gump waiting for that bus. You just keep telling the story till the bus shows up.
Well, we had the story that came out today where there was speculation that the Big 12 had already contacted the Pac-12 about doing exactly what Gabe is talking about, merging the remainders of the Big 12
Doesn't fit
with the Pac-12. What's that?
I don't think it fits.
I don't think it fits either, but it was out there. Whether or not the story's true.
A lot of time zones.
There's going to be a lot of things. Yeah, Eli made the point about West Virginia playing out there in California and Arizona. No, it doesn't make
There's
sense.
a joke in there somewhere about West Virginia and clocks, but I'm not going to crack it.
I'm not sure how much USC is going to want to travel to Ames, Iowa mid-season. That seems like a lot.
And then have to go do it for baseball.
You know, here's the thing. It does seem ludicrous, but probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, some of the alignment we have now looked ludicrous. It looked ludicrous that Maryland would be a part of the Big Ten. I know geographically it's not as bad as West Virginia and Pac-12. I'm not saying, well, it would happen. I agree with you, Brett. But getting back to Gabe's point, I only brought it up because there was that story out there about the speculation of merging. I think I would take it in a heartbeat if the American Conference and the Big 12 can merge their best entities. It's not the SEC because nothing's the SEC, and it's not the Big Ten.
But it's solid. It's really good.
It's more than I
it's
think
more
it's
than
a
solid.
very, very viable conference, especially if we go down that Jackie Sherrill route of having those 4 super conferences of 16 teams apiece. I would love that. Michael Resco should be looking, and I guarantee you he is, looking at every possible option. And if he hasn't spoken to all the ADs by now, even though it's only been a couple of days, I don't know what he's waiting for.
Oh, you just I fully trust that he has. And the whole dust up, and we were all irritated over it. But really and truly, he was kind of vindicated, justified in the end. We got to get over the March dynamic. We got to get over and him stiff-arming all of us on reaching out to explain himself here. He did. Okay, forgiven and forgotten, because this has to be a unified front. It can't be any fratricide.
And we are pretty good at holding grudges, aren't we?
Oh, with the best of them, Greg. Me at the top.
Yeah, we're pretty bad as far as that's concerned, but I'm with you 100%. Let bygones be bygones, move on. If it's going to benefit Memphis, if it's going to benefit this community, if it's going to benefit, obviously, the university, then let's get it done. Let's get it done. Be the aggressors. Be proactive. I
want it to work for a lot of reasons, the least of which, look, in what we do every day, look at the improved AAC and the Tigers' parallel improvement in football and how that does business here for us. I'm going to speak just as a fan, and yes, I am, and I have been since 1971 a fan of Tigers football. Skeeter Gowan was my first favorite player for Tigers football. He wore number 20 before we ever even knew of a guy named D'Angelo Williams from Wynn, Arkansas. I love Skeeter Gowan, and I watched him play West Texas, and I watched him play North Texas. And one time I asked my mother, I said, they play everybody but Texas. When do they play them? I want to see them improve, and I want to see it get good. And the idea of TCU back in the conference, Texas Tech back in the conference, going to Baylor, and then when you get around to the basketball quotient of it, I think it'd be a lot of fun to see Scott Drew bring his team in here to Memphis.
There's endless possibilities, and I think the one thing I also need to bring up is, even though I talked about the Laird Beach connection with Bowlesby in the Big 12, although Memphis is in a much better position than they were just 5 years ago with football, the emergence of this football program to become dominant as they are, the academics, what Dr. Rudd has done as the president at the University of Memphis, although he's outgoing, all those things combined, I still would rather have my guys putting myself into a better position than having to worry about whether or not I'm good enough to go to that party that maybe the Big 12 or let's say the ACC expanded, which I don't think Memphis would even be close to being a recipient of a bid, but you don't want to put yourself into a position where you have to depend on others to invite you to that party. It didn't work out before. Who's to say it won't work out again? So if you have the party, you're already part of the party, and you're doing the inviting, you're in a much better position to succeed.
And you see a lot of sort of articles being written, and the terminology toward the AAC seems to be, don't get left out. You don't want to get left out of the Big 12 this time. Is the Big 12 enticing, even if you're the top of the AAC or a top Group of 5 program?
No, here's the thing that people have to remember. With Oklahoma and Texas, as it's been, it's a power conference, and that's why they were able to make the deal that they did with the networks to bring in the type of money that they brought in. Not SEC money, but not too shabby, much better than the American Conference. But without those two schools, they're a shell of themselves. There is no way they can make that kind of coin, not even close to making that coin. So why not? Look, if they can add the best from the American, pluck BYU, grab Boise State, they've made themselves much more attractive. Not as much with Oklahoma and Texas in the mix, but they still made themselves much more attractive to get a pretty lucrative deal. Same thing with the American. They're okay right now. We know the deal that they have. It's not great. It's not horrible, but it's not great. But you bring in West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, Baylor, you add the remnants from the Big 12, they're still strong enough to help propel your conference into making a lot more money with the next television contract.
It's just hard for me if I'm in a Group of 5, if I'm BYU, if I'm Cincinnati, and I'm at the top of the group UCF, it's hard for me to jump into the remaining what's remaining of the Big 12, considering when you look historically, the Big 8 had issues, the Big 12, when realignment came, had issues. It always feels temporary.
Yeah, but do you okay, so let me ask you this. You have an issue either way, if it would be Memphis, Cincinnati, UCF joining what's left of the Big 12, Houston, and also the same issue of those Big 12 teams joining the American.
Yeah, I see that point. I see that point. Yeah. I see what you mean.
I want it to be a heavy AAC influence instead of Memphis just joining kind of the 8 remaining that are standing there.
Right. So look, it comes down. What's it come down to? I think we're all in agreement that dominoes are going to fall. Right. We're all in agreement.
Have to.
That. We're all in agreement that things have to happen.
Cause and effect.
There is no guarantee, though, that the Big Ten has to add. There's no guarantee that the ACC has to add. But the Big 12, to survive, has to do something. Well, are they going to do it at the expense of the American? Probably, at least try to attempt to do it. So that's why the American has to counter, and they have to go after. They may not want them ultimately, but I think, number one, you beat them to the punch. Number two, it's still going to help. I know you're not getting Texas and Oklahoma. I understand that. But if you add Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, able to get, I don't think you'll be able to get a West Virginia. They may end up one day in the ACC. I don't know, but they need a home. And if the Big 12 isn't there, they're going to need a home, even if it's temporary. So I still think you have to be the aggressor because we know something has to happen in the Big 12, which I think will directly affect the American Conference.
And I still think when you look back at when they had a chance to align themselves, get the Cincinnatis of the world, get Houston, I think that's a regrettable decision if you're sitting in the Big 12 offices right now.
Yeah, of course it is now.
Yeah, for inventory. We thought it was a mistake at the time, but you're right, it is now a major.
How about, guys, how about the Pac-12? We thought they had a big deal with Oklahoma, Texas, teams from the Big 12. What was that, back in 2010? We thought that deal was going to come to fruition. It never came to fruition. I guarantee you they're thinking, oh, man, we could have had those. Maybe we could have had them. And now the SEC, out of all the conferences out there, the SEC gets Oklahoma and Texas. I guarantee you that's chapter you-know-what.
Yeah, it has to. Greg Gaston, thank you for your time. Playing hurt day later, but I knew you were a gamer. Thank you so much. We'll be listening on Monday to you and Eli as this topic. It's not going away. This is not manufactured summertime radio. This is as real as it gets, and we appreciate your time on it.
Thanks, Greg.
It fell right into our laps, guys. It's a great story, and thank you. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Greg.
And he is Greg Gaston from the Tiger Sideline and also from Sports 56 Middays, 10 to 1, brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, and Neil's Bar and Grill.
So so many different directions this can go in. What I would hope is that tour de force, that unified front to get into the Big 12 a few years ago, when power brokers, poobahs, wise people around town, that when they tell me something, I listen. They felt certain the Tigers or the University of Memphis would go in to the Big 12, even down to the hire of Tubby Smith was kind of Big 12 safe.
Yes.
That was don't rock any boats. Well, it didn't happen. But you think if you could get the band back together again in that unified front, everybody pulling in the same direction, you almost could get that confluence of the best of the Big 12, the best of the AAC.
Right.
You can call it whatever in the heck you
Yes,
want.
figure it out.
We can package and
The Big American.
Whatever you want to call it. The Big American sounds great. I won't use Ron Tillery's old line of Conference America. It seemed to make everybody mad back in the day when he would do that. But the Big American would be fine. Mike Oresco with primary, if not the boss, involved in their move. The conference offices move to the Dallas area. That helps. And I would hope, because remember, FedEx reportedly had stepped up with the check to hand them over for the FedEx Big 12 championship presented by FedEx, stepping up in their sports marketing division as big as you can. Of course, we always lean on them and AutoZone and them for so much, but do it again and have them with some assurances. That men's basketball tournament regularly at FedEx Forum.
Yes, and I think some of those business conversations last time around did not go very swimmingly. I don't think they ended very happily, I should say. So hopefully this time around, hopefully this time around we're able to find a little bit of common ground. But then there's the wild cards of the whole conversation. BYU, what do they do if Notre Dame joins the ACC? Does the ACC go and get one of the leftover Big 12 teams? There's just so many moving parts. And the chain reaction is just—it's going to be fun to watch, but it's going to be endless. You're dead. You're dead
endless.
right.
And we touched on it yesterday. There is no time. We kind of have joked a little bit about it, but this is no time for past grievance and settling scores with Mike Oresco.
No.
March is come and gone. The world has really changed since March 5th, or around that time that he did that. And he ended up kind of right on it, if you want to just be honest about it. Whatever.
Right, wrong, doesn't matter. It was
on.
a tough decision. That has to be part of the conversation, talking about what happened with the AAC tournament, what happened with basketball. It's just 2020, can we wash it away? Can we just
Let's have the full
let
catharsis.
it go
Yeah.
and just realize that every decision made in that year was tough. It was hard. Someone was going to get the shaft.
Yeah, and then he got us again this year. He got us in 20 and in 21. But for football, do you think you need championship games anymore with all this?
I like championship games. I'll say that. I'll say yes. It's a moneymaker for the conference. It always creates more. It creates more drama. So I think yes. I think you keep championship games around now.
A lot of the SEC decision around the two divisions was to have the championship game. Roy Kramer found that loophole to have that game.
And granted, it depends on how many teams you have, what it looks like. Because, you look at the AAC this year, like just the top two teams, no divisions. I think that's a little weird when you get to championship time. So there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. But
need divisions?
I think whenever you get the opportunity, you should play a championship game for the conference.
Yeah. You settle it on foot. Do you think we need divisions as much as we maybe once did?
If we're going 16 teams, I think absolutely. If you get up to 16, you get up to that big number. When you have a smaller number, you look at the Big 12, how they were this year, the AAC. I didn't think it was all that necessary. But when you have the big number, when you have 16, I think you need to start dividing them up. by geographics, what have you.
When we come back, we'll look at what's trending from around the world of sports. Andy Schiffman with a travel issue today, and we had a timing issue with him, and I'm very sorry for it. He's going to be with us next Friday, the day after the draft, and maybe even early in the week hit for next week. We always love talking with Andy. Very sorry we missed on him today, and he's traveling now, and it was mostly us today, an issue with his travel time, so we'll try to catch back up next week. We come back, what's trending, and also for the SEC, how much is enough and how big's too big? We do that next on Sports Time.
Grab a seat with Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Golfers, it's time to tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the biggest Callaway trade-in event of the year. Starting this Thursday through Sunday, bring in any of your old clubs and receive a 75% trade-in bonus towards new Apex irons and Epic woods. Both the Apex and Epic families are designed with artificial intelligence for faster ball speeds. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com or call the store nearest you to schedule your free custom fitting today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Magic in Memphis. Excellence delivered. Where the world comes to showdown. To be the king of Grind City. Today's stars, tomorrow's legends. Taking care of business. Compete to conquer the world. Don't miss the World Golf Championships FedEx St. Jude Invitational. August 5th through 8th. For more information, visit WGCFedEx.com.
Start your engines, Mid-South. Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike is ready for the Enjoy Your Summer Style sales event. Get plenty of pulling power and more standard features than Mazda CX-5 and Ford Escape in your new 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, $229 a month. And hit the road in a 7-passenger 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander. We Gossett at $259 a month. All powered by our stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So don't miss the Enjoy Your Summer Style sales event at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 500 military rebate, 750 loyalty rebate, 48 months, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Outlander NZO 16672, MSRP 29480, Cross NC 003186, MSRP 27725. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 7/31/2021. Dealer stock only.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
901-360-8255 to talk or to text, and we peruse the text line. And Gabe, you got a good one.
I sure do. From Keith. I asked this morning, I'll ask you guys, if or when, which I think when, the Texas OU thing happens, does the SEC then go to a 4-team playoff for its championship?
Kind of the semifinals.
Great question.
Great question. I asked that. If they go pod, don't you have to do it that way?
I think so.
But then you're going to have the conversations. How many games is too many games?
And who hosts that? Does Atlanta get both weekends of that? Do you go to New Orleans? Do you go to Dallas?
If we expand the playoff, I mean, you're going to end up 17 games deep. You're going to end up with a full NFL schedule for the top teams.
Do you do those SEC semifinals all in one town on one day at the same stadium?
That would be a heck of an event, though. My gosh.
Yeah,
that would be doing it huge.
I want the bail bondsman concession.
But,
and, of course, the tow truck concession. And in any college session, I want the tow truck concession.
And I'm going to ask you, does OU
Great question,
and UT stop the expansion of the SEC? Is that the end-all, be-all?
Gabe, I alluded to it on Wednesday when this was all breaking from really solid source, that why stop at 16? And some have alluded to that. So how big is too big? How much is enough for anyone? Look, if you can afford an 80,000 square foot house, fine. I know Jeff Bezos can afford to go to space, but how much is enough for the SEC, and how big's too big?
And if the SEC is taking every big power, if they get up to 18, it's very, very hypothetical here. Get up to 18 with Clemson, Florida State, UNC, whoever it is.
Oh man!
Right? If they got up to that, what would be left for the rest of college sports?
And then do you really have a league, or are you just in a loose confederation? Because there was the time a long time ago that this was distinctly the Southeastern Conference. It now spans from College Station to Columbia and Columbia to Columbia, and we confuse every geography student in the world by putting Missouri in the east. I mean, it is most obviously west of the Mississippi River. So, I mean, is it just a loose association? It can't be too loose with all the money and the ties, but you lose some of that collegiality. When I say, you know, in the Ole Miss world with me, we hadn't been to Knoxville since 2010, going back for the first time this year since 2010. There was a time in my lifetime, State, LSU, and then Tennessee, probably the three biggest rivals of Ole Miss.
Does the thought have to cross your mind, if you're a college football, college athletics fan, leave some for the rest of us. Leave some scraps for us, SEC.
Play nice with others.
What are you leaving for us if you're taking everybody that has a brand that's massive?
It is, and what do you want to bring USC in?
Well, no, that one I think you should geographically veto, just immediately.
But
although every week that game would be
a long time ago, though, we gave this up. You know, now we're in. Well, I guess that would expand to states to 12, since already with Texas, with the Texas Aggies. So Oklahoma would make it 12 SEC states. That's a lot of states.
It's a lot of states.
I mean, the original 13 colonies.
They got all of the powers. They have all of the powers.
But you still have the Big Ten, and they did distribute more money per team last year than the SEC did.
And then does the Big Ten add? How much do they add? Do they poach teams?
And look at their latest additions. You know, Maryland, I like the idea of. I really wanted Maryland in the SEC, but I like the idea of having Maryland. But Rutgers, you know, it was totally New York City, New Jersey, you know, TV sets. OU and Texas coming into the SEC, that ain't Rutgers.
And when you look at the Big Ten, I think the one team I look at out of the Big Ten that just does not fit, I think you know exactly where I'm going with this, Nebraska. And they've got in there. I understand the money. I understand that they've made it. But is there a team through realignment that has made themselves more irrelevant in football and basketball than Nebraska?
And they did it to themselves and lost their old friends.
Never been good at basketball. So that's not
in any league anywhere.
But football was and that's what they still hang their hat
Mount
on.
Rushmore, Nebraska basketball. Tyronn Lue, Stu Lance. I got nothing else.
Yeah, you can handle that one. I don't even have a name for you.
I only have 2 mountainsides. You need 4 for a Mount Rushmore.
So, yeah, this is an unending domino line where everything is just going to shift. And the SEC, where does it end? How much is too big? Will you have a 4-team playoff for the championship, which would make sense with that amount of of teams, especially if you do the pod format and have 4 teams of 4, even with the 16 teams. So it is just mind-boggling, mind-blowing to think about all the options.
If Drew Barrett were here, he would accuse me of always taking up for him and advocating for him. There's 2 from the Sun Belt that I would look at. I would look at Louisiana.
Uh-huh.
And I would look at Arkansas State.
Okay.
And I know people are going, what TV demographic, what eyeballs, what does Arkansas State bring you? But you're going to have somebody as a quasi travel partner that would help Memphis. In Louisiana.
You talking about for the
help.
AAC?
In a revamped AAC?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
And you're going to have to maybe move on from the one-sporters, Wichita State and Navy, and I'm sorry, Navy, but
it's tough.
But you're the Navy. I mean, you've got big weaponry. You'll be okay by yourself.
I mean, yeah, you can go back to being independent if you need to, if need be.
And what will FBS football look like? We're at 130 teams now.
What?
Will it get down to just about 100 can really even attempt to play it, whether you're in the 4 teams or 4 16-team leagues?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So I wish there were 5 16ers, because that's 80.
I just and me and Gabe were talking about this yesterday. I mean, I think it's really possible you could see the Big 12 just completely disbanding, and you have just 4 super conferences. And now here's my question: would you still expand the playoffs if you just had, let's just say hypothetically, you have just 4 power conferences? Do you still expand the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yes, Brian. So. I think they do. I think they'll go to 16, and I think it'll be 16 at larges, and that means the SEC will get 7 to 8.
Yeah, it'd just be dominated by the SEC.
9-3 SEC. Hey, but
you can't discount the Big Ten in that conversation.
No.
Big Ten and SEC very similar in regards to the how much showing they'd get in an expanded
Wisconsin,
playoff.
Ohio State. Would Michigan finally break through? Would Michigan get in at 9-3? That'd be the debate.
We talked to Bruce earlier about Pac-12. Or with what we just saw, with what we're seeing with the Big 12, who would be the 2 teams out of the Pac-12 that would completely blow that thing up? USC would be one, of course.
I think Los Angeles, USC, UCLA.
UCLA?
Mm-hmm.
I can see Oregon.
I would see Oregon right this second, but then Oregon, it's an interesting one because I think Oregon, they have some history.
Mostly recent, but some from yesteryear, but really good when it matters, kind of the most recent.
Right. And so I think I would say Pac-12 would be blown up by USC and Oregon trying to move. But then, again, geographically, they're the only conference out there that really can sustain. And
it'd be rough.
And
where would Oregon go?
Yeah, that's
they're in the top corner.
I don't know where they would go.
Washington with a great football past. It hadn't been that sporty lately.
Yeah.
They were in the playoffs, the first playoff year in 20.
I think Jimmy Lake has them, especially football-wise. I think football-wise, Jimmy Lake has them on the right trajectory. I think they're going to be fine here in a couple of years. Chris Peterson did a great job with them.
In the playoffs that he did. So it's a lot of repercussions from all this, and it looks like it's going to get sorted out pretty quickly for the SEC. It hadn't been. It's not if, it's when, and the when train is really rolling.
Then everyone else is on the clock.
I'm surprised at the speed of it.
Then everyone else is on the clock. As soon as this is announced, if the AAC's making calls, I'd hope right now, I'd hope that they'd be proactive through this whole thing. I would imagine that the ACC's reaching out, seeing what's going on, getting the temperature of the situation. Everybody should be getting the temperature of the situation. The only one that I think is sort of, I'm not saying completely out of it, but mostly out of it would be the Big Ten.
Might add 1.
But then you add 1, you have 14. You stop at 15, or you have to add another.
And do they go after like a Mizzou and maybe try to get Mizzou and Kansas?
What do you think of Iowa State?
I was just about to say that. I love it.
You know who Iowa State's best friend needs to be right now? Iowa.
Yeah. And that would keep the rivalry.
Governor and their political power behind a unified front.
Keep the Cy-Hawk rivalry alive, and it'd be in conference this time.
I do hope OU and Texas, and I think they will. I think they're contractually bound for a while. I want it to stay at Fair Park. I want it to stay at the Texas State Fairgrounds. Don't go home and home.
Poor Kansas. What do you do with Kansas?
Poor Kansas.
What do you do? I mean, basketball's you get value out of basketball, but what do you do with them as a whole?
Well, Kansas is kind of the opposite of Tiger football right now. At this important time when football drives this, they hit flat empty.
Right.
The Mark Mangino taking a team to the Orange Bowl seems like it might as well have been during the no face mask helmet era.
I put this out there yesterday on Twitter. I grew up watching the Big 12. For those that don't know, I grew up a Colorado Buffalo fan. Believe it or not, my dad actually went there. Always watched them growing up. I remember Bobby Pure, Joel Klatt. I remember Joel Klatt being a beast. They started 7-0, lost their last 5, went into the bowl game. I remember Gary Barnett. I remember how that ended. That was ugly. But the old days in the middle there, around 03 to 08, the Big 12 at that time was good. You think about Baylor was the doormat. Iowa State was the doormat. Mizzou was solid.
Colorado with great history.
Yes.
National champion in the early 90s, Bill McCartney.
And then I also think of
good teams all through.
The Mizzou-Kansas game at Arrowhead Stadium and how big that was
Saturday
at that
night
time.
game. That was
Todd
Jason
Reesing,
White, wasn't
and you
it?
brought it. Yeah. No. You take it. Chase Daniel versus Todd Reesing was the quarterback
I got Oklahoma
for
confused.
Kansas.
Yeah.
And Kansas had Chris Harris Jr., had Aqib Talib on that team, had a bunch of guys. Mizzou was loaded. Jeremy Macklin was on that team.
Was Mizzou undefeated?
Mizzou was undefeated.
Yeah.
Mizzou was number 1 at one point during that year. They lost in the Big 12 championship game to Oklahoma, and I think got left out of the whole
I always
national championship
I say it every time he
conversation.
comes up. One of my favorite players ever, Chase Daniel. Love any quarterback with a beer gut.
Remember, and he had that tight end, Chase Kaufman, too, with him at that time.
They came to Oxford for a non-conference game that year in 07, I think. That was 07.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
They came to Oxford and put it on Ole Miss. Ole Miss rallied late to make the score look better for the history book, but that was Ed Orgeron's last year, and Colorado came in and put it on. That was Tony Franklin at tailback.
I'm telling you, I think of some of those days in the old Big 12. It was not all bad. It was good. There was some good ball being played. Nebraska, Colorado to end the year every year was always fun.
Always.
Texas versus Texas Tech. Remember the Michael Crabtree last-second touchdown? Those used to be fun at times. Texas Tech has fallen off a cliff since.
Yeah, they have. We're going to wrap it up when we come back from this break. We will do it with Taco Bell Crunch Time. We'll put a wrap on the day and on the week. That's next on Sports Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's finally time to get out of the house. So make sure you stop by Family Leisure with great prices on in-stock and incoming products. Keep the kids active with play gyms, in stock, ready for delivery. And by the way, installation from the pros, I always recommend that. Markdowns on remaining game room products and those beautiful massage chairs. And the hot tubs, they're going fast. Get out of the house and get to Family Leisure. Wooden Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
We all need that great snack on the course, at home, or on the go. Golf Sticks Pretzels Twist hits the spot. STIX. Go to golfstickspretzels.com and order now. The company is in West Point, Mississippi. Buy by the case, 3-ounce golf sticks, 12-bag count, 12 individual 3-ounce bags for $24. Buy by the case, 3-ounce case, 36-bag count, 3 ounces per bag, $42. In all the area golf shops like TPC Southwind, Spring Creek, Miramichi, Memphis National, Timber Trust, and of course at Old Waverly and Mossy Oak Golf Club with the company right there in West Point, Mississippi. Guaranteed a birdie in every bag. They provide a delicious, healthy snack for athletes, fans, and it promotes the great game of golf. Proven to be the best tasting pretzel, Golf Sticks Pretzels coated with specialty seasoning, paired with a buttery crunch that will power you through any season. Make it your second golf bag. GolfSticksPretzels.com, STIX, a birdie in every bag. GolfSticksPretzels.com.
Are you an HVAC installer that knows how to deliver great customer service? Are you running ductwork in new homes every day? Stop running all that ductwork and give your career a boost. It may be time to join the Conway Services team. Conway Services offers great benefits like health insurance, holiday pay, paid time off, 401k, and much more. Conway Services installers enjoy working with some of the newest tools, trucks, and equipment in the industry, which makes it easier to deliver that great customer service. And by the way, Conway Services has never laid off an HVAC installer. So if you're drug-free, with a clean criminal background, and a good driving record, we should talk. When you're a premier installer, you should be working for a premier service company. Do yourself and your family a favor and call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511, or go to our website at conwayservices.net.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Belly Acres' motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. Two great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Dare Ya or the Double Dare Ya, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Belly Acres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Belly Acres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Belly Acres.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for a fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Sunrise Buick GMC is having their annual tent sale and the selection or savings are bigger than ever. A huge selection to choose from, big discounts from factory rebates high as $6,000. It's okay if you've got slow credit. Sunrise has over $500 million available for immediate financing with interest low as 0%. An $18 million used car inventory. And remember, Sunrise specializes in cars and trucks under $10,000. See them all at sunrisememphis.com. Savings and fun for all ages. The 33rd annual tent sale going on now at all Sunrise locations. Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, we hit fame. We busy with the deal, we get insane.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello,
Boop! Get you!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
On one, on two, on three, hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Brett, I learned today that in the blowback from the Maria Taylor-Rachel Nichols incident and all the issues, Maria Taylor's off to NBC to possibly replace Mike Tirico as the host for NBC's Football Night in America. Malika Andrews, now the leader in the clubhouse, for NBA Countdown, being the host. Shout out to Malika, 26 years old, earned every bit of it. She's been fantastic on the sideline since they've gotten her, and she started in the bubble. But Malika Andrews, leader in the clubhouse, to be the next host for ESPN's NBA Countdown.
Yeah, and Maria Taylor and with Mike Tirico there, that's kind of going to be the future of the Sunday night football after Al Michaels' retirement. Has he formally announced this year is it? But a lot of speculation.
I'm not sure he has, but it is a shame, I have to say, what happened at ESPN, how this all played out with Maria Taylor. Losing a talent like that's never fun for a network, but they could have handled it a lot better on their end.
I learned this today. I bring it up almost every year. I don't know where they go on vacation. I don't know whatever it is they do. I don't know what's so special about it, but it has to be the most restorative place on planet Earth. Where do the hockey guys go for vacation? Because they take 2 weeks off and they're right back at it. Hockey schedule release for next year. It just ended 5 minutes ago, and they'll be playing in about 10 minutes.
You got to get into some warm weather, right?
Don't you?
Have to.
Their off season is a blink of an eye turnaround every year. That schedule's out in October 12th. They open a week before the NBA this year, and they finished about the same time.
It's a grind every single year, and the fact that you had a repeat winner in the NHL, that's tough to do. It's always tough to do. What I could have done without today, I have a couple things, and I hate to bring up a couple things, but there's a report out there from Eric Pincus, who is a NBA insider, that Kyle Kuzma, and he's had some issues with the Lakers with his role and everything, but Kyle Kuzma thinks of himself like Jason Tatum. He thinks he's on the same level as Jason Tatum.
Why?
I have absolutely no idea.
We're talking one's really good and one's great.
There shouldn't be any inkling of that in his head, and he does think he could be a number one. He thinks he could be an all-star, so I don't doubt it, and he should think that. He should think he's fantastic, but I'm always been in the boat of being realistic, and also I could have done without the Vikings coach Rick Dennison, offensive line coach, run game coordinator, refusing to get the COVID-19 vaccine. You can make that decision, but it cost him his job. A six-figure salary cost him his job.
Cost him another year in the pension.
He is out, and their assistant O-line coach for the Vikings, Phil Rauscher, will replace Dennison. Yeah. I can't imagine giving up that much money.
Do you think we have any interruption from the Players Association on preseason games to take a stand?
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But here's the thing. I think the guys that are not wanting to take the vaccine are in the minority on this thing.
I do too. And then you have to go on without them, and we'll probably have forfeits. I could have done without this, and I like him a lot and knew him way back when in the day when he was a young GA. But Dabo tries too hard, and he sounds older and older every time he does it, and he sounds more out of touch every time he's done it. Look, he's attained grand status in the game. I won't say grand old man because he's not that old, but he's attained grand status. But it always comes off as kind of a cocky young cuss that should know better when he makes some of these statements. Years ago he said, when they start paying the players, they're going to do it without me. Well, when he's now saying about the playoff, he doesn't want it. He's achieved a lot, but I don't think he's one of the wiser voices today in the game.
I don't either, and he rubs me the wrong way with the things he has said over the years, but I will say he's fantastic.
Really
great coach. Great coach. Will always have a winning program out there, and seems to,
for the most Bryant of Clemson football,
and seems to, for the most part, do right by his players. His players seem to like him.
Oh, they do, and they always have.
So what I'm looking forward to this weekend, obviously Olympic coverage. I think we have fencing tonight. We have.
I'm ready.
What else we got? We got
rowing.
rowing.
Have you ever had an epi in
handball?
Your hand? Have you ever fenced?
I have never fenced. I don't know if I'm fleet of foot enough to be a fencer.
I like it.
They
Every
move
4
quick.
years.
They got some
we
agility.
got out in the backyard like with
judo.
Like with things and dueled it out. It wasn't actual swords though. Judo, fighting in the backyard. Does that count as judo?
I'll give you the pass. I'll give you the pass there. Right. But also I'm looking forward to some MLB action. Yankees, Red Sox tonight. Cardinals played a little better, but them catching up and then El Central that ain't gonna happen.
If you go on a float trip, does that count as rowing?
No.
I don't know.
No.
Swimming.
You know what?
In a
You're
swimming
saying
pool
no. You don't know.
On a floaty
don't
with
know.
a drink. Does that count as swimming?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And also, I'm looking forward to seeing Nelson Cruz and his new threats with the Rays.
And the Rays did some dealing. Usually, they're the teams that. They're the team that everybody poaches, but they did. I'm going to keep a close eye on the Olympics this weekend. I don't know what's going to be live or tape, but I'm going to watch it. Baseball trade and the rumor mill. NFL camp news, keep an eye on that. Cardinals at Reds. That's a distinct battle for second place. Braves at Phillies. That's two teams that both, I think if they had a push in them, they can put a little pressure on the Metropolitans.
They haven't done it, though. And the Braves starting pitching and relief pitching is just toast.
All the Atlanta-based Brave fans at SEC Media Days saying going nowhere, no shot. Garrett Cole on the mound for the Yankees against the Red Sox. Is it possible that Garrett Cole's a quiet 10-4? And also maybe a preview of the Fall Classic this weekend with the Southsiders in Milwaukee.
Okay.
White Sox, Milwaukee. America ready for that.
That's a good one.
Come October, I'd be fine by it.
Giolito, Freddie Peralta tonight?
I take it any way it falls
I'll
out.
handle that. I can handle that.
What a fun week. What a fun Friday. And a lot of people to think like Alan Bell, Darryl Smith, Bruce Marshall, Tim Doolin, and Greg Gaston. We're sorry we couldn't catch up with Andy Schiffman. That was kind of my mistake on my end on planning. We will make it up maybe with early in the week appearance, but definitely Andy back with us next Friday talking the NBA draft. Want to thank Bryant for sure. Great week. You guys kept me propped up all week. Gabe Kuhn, thank you. Second thank you to Greg Gaston for playing hurt like he did today. We'll be back on Monday. Dave will be with us. Everyone have a safe, great weekend. Talk to you Monday at 3.
They've raised the bar again at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. I like to say this is the new standard, the way car business should be done. And to prove it, out of 300